Alright, so we've started. This is a podcast.
Let's go.
Alright. So I guess it's just a conversation as
Yep.
we'd normally have them
Yep.
if it wasn't a podcast. We've just got a new mic and set up. This is the first time we're talking on a podcast.
Exactly.
We thought it'd be good to do this because we tend to have interesting conversations and we do like conversations and usually we stay up late just talking.
Extremely late.
Yeah. Like
Extremely
we'll come
late.
back from football and it'll be like 10 o'clock and then we'll just stay till 2 and we haven't had our showers and it's like, so what the fuck are we doing?
Exactly.
So I think Aleks here has been reading books recently.
I have indeed. I would say that for the past 2 months, there's been a extreme change in mindset. And with that, I've been reading a lot of books, mainly non-fiction. And I think it's been fantastic because I've been my knowledge was extremely specified before that. It was in the range of STEM, basically.
Yeah. I think there's like a thing with STEM where if you like STEM, for a long time you just like STEM. And it happens to guys a lot.
Yeah.
Because historically guys have this tendency to go obsessive on one thing rather than a lot of things.
Very true.
So that's why when a guy likes STEM, usually they're only good at STEM.
100%.
There's some guys that are good at everything and some girls that are good at everything, but guys especially, when they specialize in one thing, they just go crazy.
I think it's a problem with our world as well because we have a job and your job is usually that one specific
It's a hyper-specific
thing.
job.
Yeah.
Which is like you have to strike a balance between how much you're going to specialize and how much you need to stay diverse to be able to like talk to people and live your life.
I met a guy.
Yeah.
And because I had some work experience at Verizon, and before then he worked at Google.
Okay.
And we were all sitting there, 14 of us, and we were like, why the fuck did you jump out of a job of Google? I think it was Google or it was Microsoft. It was the big boy company.
Yeah.
And then he literally just said the job was cool, don't get me wrong, but he had so little flexibility.
Okay.
There was just one aspect that he had to program in a system, and that's it, game over. And he was just like, this is boring. And even though it was fun, don't get me wrong, he enjoyed it, but it was so specific. Sometimes you just have to spice it up. He wasn't able to, so he said he left his job. Now he works at Verizon. He's a senior programmer, and he can switch up his job from time to time, and he's very happy.
He's keeping it interesting.
Exactly.
There's a thing about clever people. It was this lecture, and he was saying the difference between someone that's really clever and someone that's your average person.
Mm.
Your average person can easily do a monotonous job, like a job where they do the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Because, the job's not the main center of their attention. They're not focusing solely on their job. Your average person actually works 60 minutes a day at full efficiency, even if they have 8-hour work days. But the difference, someone that's really intelligent, they usually go into sciences or engineering or a field where they need research because it's not the same stuff every day.
Yeah.
Every day is different. Except even if you're going to the same place, you're going to the same whiteboard, it's a different thing every day.
I get what you're saying.
You do 10 years of research before coming to a conclusion. You're
yeah.
That's really cool, which is why clever people generally love doing stuff like that.
Very true.
Yeah.
I think to add to that, I feel like there's a lot more surprises.
That's it
because you're wow, okay, I just recently we're kind of discovering a fifth force ?
Yeah, we don't know what it is. We don't know whether it's it had something to do with the muon.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it. I was watching Physics Girl's YouTube video about it.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. It rings a bell, but the main basis of it is there was an extremely small change of mass.
It was it had to do with moment of spin?
I can't exactly tell you. But there was extremely small change in what's it called, in mass or whatever, and it was extremely small. But that in itself was the physicists were
that's enough.
That's enough. There's a fifth force.
It's not only they don't know if it's a fifth force or if it's a a particle.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
They don't know much about what it is.
But it could be revolutionary.
Or it could just be...
Exactly.
It could just be a fluke.
Exactly. We'll see though. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know.
It'll be very interesting to what happens though. Like, if a fifth force does become discovered, I feel like physics will like wake up a bit.
It will change because
it will change.
I see so many people say there's the death of theoretical physics because in terms of like in string theory, well, no one knows what the fuck's happening with string theory.
No one knows. I can't even tell you.
Because I know some people, like some professors that do string theory. I haven't spoken to them personally, but there's no experiment to find out whether string theory works.
Okay.
Or if string theory is real. What they wait for is, I think Brian Greene was explaining this. He was like, they need the Hadron Collider to basically have particles that collide with each other.
Yeah.
Head on or not head on, I don't know. And spin out of existence. Or spiral out of existence, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they'd be able to know that maybe there's another dimension, which would be the one that they're looking for in string theory. But I'm not sure if that's gonna work anytime soon.
Don't you find it interesting how physicists are able to say that there's 10, 11 dimensions? Like, the numbers come out of, like, it seems like they're just coming out of nowhere. Like, these numbers that you see in physics, like, they're able to find, like, distances of, like, the observable universe, which is, like, 500 million light years. Like, how are you calculating this? I actually, like, I find it extremely interesting how they can go that far.
I mean, I don't know.
Joe Rogan said that it's the DMT. They take some crazy drugs, and then they're able to go into like some crazy inner consciousness, and they're just able to enter the new dimension or whatever.
I don't know. The mind of a successful physicist must be like working overtime all the time.
Overclocked.
Overtime all the time.
Yeah.
Like you could see people like Feynman.
Yeah.
He had, like, there are stories about Feynman having, like, you can walk into his bathroom and pick up the newspaper he was reading, and there'd be physics all over it. Because he'd have written it on the newspaper. Like, he'd be reading it, then completely, like,
zone out
of the newspaper and start writing physics. Around his newspapers, all around his stuff. It was like, he was obsessed. I think it takes obsessiveness to be extremely good at one thing.
Yeah, it's like a bit of an OCD.
Yeah, not OCD, but, like, you just need to... It's a sacrifice because you need to give up a lot of things.
That's very true.
You need to give up... If you want to be super, super successful at something, you need to give up basically everything.
That's with everything.
Yeah,
anything
successful
you master,
at anything.
you have to kind of scrap the rest away.
Because you have to hyper-specialize.
Yeah.
But then you become inadequate in other things.
Exactly.
Like, that's why so many successful business people, or successful lawyers in New York, they're talking about lawyers in New York, they work like 80 hours a week. 60 to 80 hours a week, which is a lot of time, and you can't like slack in if you're a lawyer. You can't just slack off and not be good. You have to make sure your billable hours are high. So what they do is, there was a lecture about this. It's like if you want to lead a normal, satisfying life, you can either be 80% good at a lot of things.
Oh yeah, it's the 80-20 rule. It's the 80-20 rule.
I don't know. What's the 80-20 rule?
80-20 rule is... I'll have to search it up. Hold on.
Alright.
80-20 rule.
Alright.
I've heard about this.
You found it?
Pareto principle.
Pareto principle.
Yeah, it states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of consequences comes from 20% of causes. Okay. The other names for this principle are the 80-20 rule, the rule of the vital law. It's basically for 80% of things, there's 20% specific reason for it to happen. I would have to give you a very good, there's examples in economics. Yeah, so only 20% of the world is rich from the 80%. Hold on, I'm chatting a bunch of nonsense. Anyways.
So basically what it is, it's like you can be pretty good at a lot of things. You know how you're pretty good at a lot of things in school?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like decent at math, decent at physics, decent in some other subjects. or you can be extremely good at one thing.
That's very true.
Because if you want to be extremely good at one thing, all your time's going to be set towards that.
Okay.
But so the difference is, someone that's generally satisfied with life,
Mm-hmm.
someone that's not hyper successful, relatively successful, satisfied with life, they put like maybe let's say 80% effort into their work, 80% effort into their family, 80% effort into their bodies, like to take care of themselves, into all their friendships and into their relationship with their partner maybe.
Okay.
To keep everything working
Yep.
properly. And you're good at all those things. You become decent at these things, right?
Yep.
But then someone like, let's say, I don't have an example of, fine, someone like Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
When he was getting his companies up, he was working, he said 20 hours a day.
Yeah, he said a stupid number. Like
Tesla,
he was sleeping on the
Nikola
floor.
Tesla. You're not sleeping enough, so that there's the health. You've thrown that out of the
Yeah.
water. You're not exercising. You're not seeing family. You're not seeing friends. You're not doing anything. You're just working
Yeah.
all the time. But the difference with that is, let's say you and I are the same intelligence.
Yep.
And
IQ.
we get similar grades and everything. Same person. Now, you start working after school just 1 hour a day,
Cool.
just extra. You finish your homework, but you work 1 hour a day on your own.
Yep.
I finish homework and I work 6.
Oof.
Every day, right?
Oof.
Like, if you take 6 hours a day, how many days are there in a year? 365.
Compounds.
The difference in
Huge.
1 year will be enough for me to take a rest at the end of the year, and you'd have to go another 6 years or something like that. Like you get what I mean? Something ridiculous.
Completely understand.
Just to catch up.
Yeah.
Which is why when someone like becomes, the word is hyper conscientious, so extremely hardworking,
Yeah.
they just
It's like exponential growth.
yeah.
It's like boom, it goes off the roof.
Yeah, it goes up, and by the time you want to try and catch up to them, they're so far ahead that it will take you your entire lifetime to catch up.
It's kind of
crazy.
like with money. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. As soon as you have like at the start, you have £100 you want to invest, you only make like 20, and then you have that 120, you make some like a bit more, and it's like with what's it called? There's that stock market called S&P 500. It's the 500 biggest companies in
like
the US.
Fortune 500?
No, I know. It's like every market has like their like stock, and like for the US, 500 biggest.
Okay.
Biggest.
Is it like the UK? They have their FTSE or whatever.
Yeah. It's exactly that.
Okay.
I put some money into it because it's the US.
Yeah.
And US is US. They're just a big fat like company basically.
Bro, the US is crazy.
Yeah, but like 1,000. Like imagine you put £1,000 into that, and I think it's like average is 10% return rate every year. So times that by 101, it goes off 1,100. And it goes up and 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 up.
Okay, yeah.
And then it's like after 40 years, like it just compounds a stupid amount out of £1,000. Like
yeah, but it also needs like you require patience because people tend to take money out.
Of course, that's
really quickly.
Patience is the name
And
of
you
the
know,
game.
I'm really bad at investing. I'm so illiterate to investing. It's like, just.
What's Dogecoin at?
It's like asking someone that doesn't know how to write. That's how bad I am at investing. So I'm trying to learn. I've put some money in. Some money in.
Safe Moon to the moon.
I'm gonna try and put some money in Safe Moon. I've put some money in Bitcoin. I bought some gold.
That's it.
I bought some gold when it was what was it? I put 200 in gold, and as soon as I bought it, it like crashed. Like the minute I bought it, it went down to 194 point.
That's a big L.
0.15.
That's a big L.
Yeah, but you know, at least it didn't go down too much.
But
it's calm.
Big trading rule.
Yeah.
You don't lose money unless you sell.
Yeah.
That's the mentality. People see the graph dip and then they're like, I'm
like,
losing
fuck.
money. You're not losing money. You're not losing money. It's just that right now the market is on a negative gradient.
Yeah.
But for everything that goes down, something has to go up.
Yeah.
People they're not thinking. You have to just be a bit patient and basically let the emotions go. Just don't, like, you kind of have to think that this money is not that important. As soon as you separate from this extreme importance of money, because it is important, but as soon as you give it too much importance, the emotions come in,
you kind
and
of
you
have
can't
to
trade
put it
properly.
and forget about it.
Exactly.
For a bit of time.
And that's why people say trade only what you are willing to lose. You have to say to yourself, I am going to lose every single penny right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And you lose attachment to this money you've invested, and whatever happens, happens. And if you're intelligent and you can make educated guesses, and most likely you will make money. And that's how the poor get rich, basically.
I don't think it's most likely. I think it's like if you play your cards right, you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's
get money.
Like, this is not just probability. People say that I'm gambling when I'm putting like £500 into Bitcoin, 200 into Ethereum.
Right, I think it's because it feels like gambling a lot. Because we were talking about this before. I was like, yeah, it just has the gamble feel to it. I mean, I don't know if. Obviously, it's not the same as gambling because you're not just putting money blindly and like you don't know. It's not like you don't know what cards you're holding.
It all depends if you've done the research.
It depends if you've done research. It depends on so many things, but it just has the gamble feel.
Yeah.
Which is probably why.
Yeah.
But it feels so much like gambling. I wanted to. There's this guy that runs this hedge fund.
Okay.
And he's a mathematician, and he was able to make mad returns on them.
Okay.
On the money. I don't know. His name is. Let me see if I can find it. He was.
Hedge fund mathematician. Bro, mathematicians are just OP at everything. I remember watching like The Beautiful Mind, and it was about like Dr. Hash, I think his name was. He was a mathematician. He had schizophrenia, and he like the thing is, this wasn't even real. This was going in this schizophrenic episode, but he was in a military camp, and they asked him to they gave him a screen full of numbers, and he was able.
Is this Ramanujan?
No. It's called The Beautiful Mind, and he was able from literally just a list of numbers, get coordinates, and from these coordinates, give these like military officers like a point on Earth to go and start this imaginary war. But
wasn't it
crazy shit, bro?
It was the mathematician like Alan Turing. Do you know the the movie? What's it called? I forgot its name. It's like
Alan Turing movie.
Yeah, Alan Turing movie.
The Imitation Game.
Yeah, bro, this guy was able to like decipher the Nazi codes to find out like I think it was where they're gonna like shoot their missiles or something like that, and he just did it like with very little help, basically on his own.
You know what?
A few people. Only.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I don't wanna like not give credit to Alan Turing, but like a lot of people like basically I'm not saying that they forget, but there was a lot of Polish cryptographers.
Okay.
Like who did extremely dumb amounts of work. Like initially when the war started, and Poland was the first country to become invaded that was invaded, and there was basically a group of mathematicians and intelligent people under like it was called underground in speech marks. No one knew about them, and like deciphering codes. And yes, like this man did huge. Like he did the last.
His stuff was for the UK. I don't know.
It was for the UK, but the thing is, they like everything initially started from Poland, because how were they supposed to know that Poland's being invaded and all of this shit is happening?
Yeah.
And Poland had a lot of insight because they were like captured by Germany.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? And they didn't like, they had no idea what was going on. The Germany thought this fucking country is gone. Like Warsaw was, I think 95% destroyed or something like that.
Yeah.
But like in the realm of the unknown, there was like these Polish cryptographers, mathematicians who were also like deciphering huge codes.
I was thinking about like, you know, similar story when Einstein went over to America and told them that was it Einstein that went to America and told them that the Germans have really good physicists and are preparing like a
they had very intelligent people as well.
Nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
And so the Manhattan Project began, and they brought all the really, really good American physicists at the time. All of them were there together. There was Niels Bohr, but then Feynman was young. Wait, but who was the German physicists in Germany? There was Einstein, what's his name?
But he wasn't involved with anything.
No,
Or was
he left. He had to leave
left.
Nazi Germany because he was Jewish.
Exactly.
So he had to leave from the country. If not, like...
Mm-hmm.
Nazi Germany sort of valued their scientists in a very weird way.
Mm-hmm.
But they valued their scientists. So I don't know if Einstein was going to be just like killed the way the other Jews were. I don't know. I don't know what would have happened to him. But I don't think it would have been pleasant anyways. Who was it? Heisenberg.
I can't tell you.
Heisenberg was also in Nazi Germany, I think. Let me
You would have to search that up.
see.
I'm not entirely sure, but
I think Heisenberg was during the Nazi regime. Heisenberg. Werner Heisenberg. Yeah, he was definitely born. He was definitely during that time. He was born in 1901 and died in 1976. So
he was round there.
Yeah,
He was round there.
he has the uncertainty principle, right?
Yeah.
Delta X, delta P.
Yeah. That's him.
Bro, yeah. So anyways, Einstein had to leave, and he warned them about like the Germans have really good physicists.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be able to make something that's extremely powerful, like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
So all the American physicists went down and started the Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
And who was it? It was. If you ask any physicist at the time, who's the best physicist at the time, I think, or even now, they all say Einstein. But when they say Einstein, they say the second closest was Paul Dirac, who's this like English / French.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's not French.
That guy
But he was
rings a
clever.
bell.
He was really clever. He went to his dad like was really strict with him. So
What did he like invent?
he
Is it Dirac delta function?
there's
Is it him?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Dirac.
yeah. Go into the first equation they'll show you is his equation.
Dirac made fundamental contributions to the early development of both quantum mechanics and quantum electrodynamics.
Yeah.
Quantum theory. Oh, he did a shit ton of stuff.
But wait, go into his formula. If you just go into Dirac formula,
Alright.
just write that.
Formula.
I think that's one he gave.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
This is for quantum.
But I don't understand it. But I just wanted to see it.
Yeah.
I had a few things.
This is past our knowledge.
Yeah.
But
Not
But-
good enough at physics. Hopefully yet.
relativistic wave equation derived by British physicists. It is free from or
Bro, you know he was so clever. This guy.
How do these guys think of this stuff? I don't know.
So you know what he? I think he went to Cambridge for engineering. His dad wanted him to go for engineering.
Dirac.
But he didn't like engineering, so he finished it quick. He finished the course in 2 years.
A lot of people do that.
Bro,
A lot of these physicists.
He went to Cambridge engineering, finished the course in 2 years so that he can move on and do physics, because he liked it more.
He got a Nobel Peace Prize, yeah.
Nobel Peace Prize, or
Yeah.
Nobel Prize in physics. Yeah.
1933.
I can't remember what it was for, but I remember he did get a Nobel.
He's a smart guy, we must say.
Mm.
I mean, this is, I don't understand.
These were the two big physicists of
Yeah.
the 20th century. Like the really, really big ones. But then the loved one by students is Feynman. Everyone.
Yeah, I mean, because
I
the
love
guy
Feynman.
just knows how to teach. Like, okay, this guy, cool.
He's like the teacher you want to have.
He's the God teacher. Like, he will explain, like, things to you that you wouldn't even be able to comprehend usually.
And he does it in a way where, like, it doesn't even feel like physics.
Yeah, it just feels like
For
you're
a minute.
listening to, like, cool information.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, well, he was explaining tunneling, quantum tunneling, you know, when
Yeah.
something jumps the forbidden region, like, where it shouldn't be supposed to go through, but it still can go through, like an electron, I think, and he explained it by, like, imagine you push a ball, or you push something into a volcano with a really tiny, like, hole.
Okay.
So instead of it just, if you push it slowly, it doesn't go into the hole, it just rolls back down, right?
That's true.
But if you push it with enough force,
It'll
it
go over.
pushes up and goes in,
Yeah.
you know? And that's how he explained it. He said there has to be enough energy for it to be able to do the quantum tunneling. That's how, it's such a nice analogy. It's like, and when he explains how, like, surface tension works, he's like, oh, atoms, like, are holding hands.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why they shape that ball-like form. And that's why, like, planets are circular as well, because...
You know what? I have a theory.
Well, what?
I don't know why, but it just seems so strange to me that everything works in like a orbital nature. Our atoms, like our electrons are orbiting. Do you see what I'm saying? And you know, we are created out of millions of these atoms, and then our planet orbiting around the sun, right? And then and then you go up again, and
everything
then
is
galaxies,
like a round-ish
yeah, but exactly, it's an eclipse. I don't know, it's
ellipse,
but
like
you can express in terms of pi, and if I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure you can, and go to the next next level. Galaxies are spinning around other things, and then on another, like it's like from the fundamentals to the biggest things on this like universe, everything somehow is just fucking spinning.
Yeah, they say like the micro imitates the macro and vice versa. So
like in economics, isn't it?
In economics it's different. Micro and macroeconomics are so different from what I've done in economics anyways. Like I haven't done too much economics. I stopped economics before uni. Like, I just stopped economics a year ago. But micro and macro are so different.
Oh, in economics?
Yeah.
Teach me.
I mean,
I know.
Bro, I don't think I'm even competent enough to still do it.
Okay.
I used to help out with the math and economics parts.
Okay. So supply and demand.
Like supply and demand. I used to be able to like find out. I forgot the words. Like if there's shortages or not. I wouldn't be able to explain it that well. I'm really like rusty. I'm extremely rusty on economics. But I just knew that I liked micro more than macro, and there was a massive difference.
No, I mean, definitely. I think macro is the whole picture like
whole scale economics. But I think it's difficult to manage macroeconomics because like everyone has different ideas on macroeconomics.
Everyone has different ideas on everything.
Macroeconomics is pretty like. If you do something, the supply and demand.
So everything makes kind of sense.
Really simple to understand.
Yeah.
On a very basic level, like if you put out a product and people like it, people are gonna buy it.
But it makes sense, and it's like extremely basics, strong.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of like Pythagoras' theorem in maths.
When you scale it out and go to macro, I think it's completely different. It becomes you have to take into account like unions, like how much power they have, minimum wages, all that type of stuff. On the big scale.
I guess it gets more into like politics as well, and other like fields.
Because like I think there are some economists that had the idealistic view of economics
and geography as well. A lot of geography goes into it. That's why I loved geography like back in I don't know like when I was like 16, 15. But what I could not stand is like all the politics involved with geography, and it's like. I just wanted to learn about volcanoes and tectonic plates. Yeah. But I had to remember like these like long essays on like I remember like even with like because I was learning about Nigeria and like their political situation. I remember they had a coup and there was like the problem with oil and how like 80% of like their money from a certain point was coming from oil and it was extremely like dependent on oil. I remember this stuff, but I remember learning about it and it was just so hard to learn about because it was so like economics / politics like heavy
rather than geography.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't pick geography because like at A levels because I feared it.
Yeah,
I feared. And the thing is, back then I was very like closed-minded, and I thought to myself, I'm a like mathsy type of guy, and I just can't do anything else.
But I loved that. That was there's a certain cockiness that comes with it. It's like I fucking love math and that's it. Like math, physics,
it exists.
Those are my mojo, and then the rest, that.
I guess that's what fuels like all these extremely high achieving people. I feel like from a young age they've had this like ego or whatever, and it was like I am the smartest, I am learning the best subject, and they just don't care. They have their own opinion, and they just sit there in a book and they just do maths and physics. And like I feel like only when they reach a certain stage, like then you have to like apply it. Like you need to be more philosophical to start coming up with ideas that don't exist, right?
Yeah.
And that's when they start to wake up.
I think what you're talking about, I think, is the Dunning-Kruger effect. So it doesn't have to do with intelligence only.
No.
It's like, it's a curve that goes confidence versus competence.
Okay.
So confidence on the y-axis and competence on the x-axis.
Okay.
So if you see it, it's like, when you're in like high school, so sixth form, and so you're 11 and 12.
Yeah, whatever.
And you become, like, you get like 95% on 2 math tests, and then you feel like you're the shit.
It's true.
And then like you can't even miss a question in class anymore, and everything's like flowing perfectly. You're in the perfect groove, right? And then like you reach university, and then you realize all you know about physics and math is nothing.
Yeah, it's like 1%. It's very true.
And then the confidence drops
100%
massively. But as the confidence drops, also with time your competence grows.
Yeah.
And then you pick up confidence again.
Yeah.
And then at some point you level out at really, really high confidence, which is kind of good, but you're not as cocky as you obviously are as a teenager.
Yeah.
Like it goes out, and your cockiness would be justified if you're a successful theoretical physicist. Your confidence kind of justifies. It's like, well, you're
going to be happy with a Nobel Prize.
You come up with stuff.
Yeah.
You deserve to be cocky.
I think another problem is like teachers and the education system. People which like are high achievers become not just rewarded with prizes or whatever, but like the like respect you get from like teachers. Do you see what I'm saying? It's over the
helps
roof.
You out.
You're just looked so much highly of, and it's an advantage in it's like a psychological advantage in the sense you're walking into class and you have a good relationship with a teacher. Exactly. And like sadly, this guy who's maybe struggling with whatever he is in life, and he just doesn't have time to like do maths. I don't know, maybe he's taking care of his sick mom, whatever. Shit happens, and then he comes to school and like the teacher comes up to him like, "Yo, you're a joke, man. You're unserious, brother. Wake up, do more maths." But like, and then like that in itself is a destructive type of like mindset for the kid. Which it's like, as soon as you're better, the chances of you getting even better rise like this. It's like with pro football.
Isn't it what there's a part in the Bible that says
I was saying like
from the poor all will be taken, from the rich to the rich everything will be elevated. There's something like that. Interpret
that. I'm not sure. I was gonna give the example that like, let's say you make it to a pro team at the age of like, you hit like a pro academy at the age of 9-10.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by a lot of good already, if you see what I'm saying. Like your opportunities are much larger, and then all these people who play for like these amateur teams, what they have is some unserious coach, and the chances of them getting to where they are, like they need to work 3 times as harder to get to the same level. And it's fair, unfair, I don't really know. That's just, I guess, how life operates. Some people just get more lucky than others, but yeah.
So here's the for to everyone who has more will be given, and he will have abundance, but from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. So it's like,
you have to deconstruct that.
For the people, like it's easy to spiral out into oblivion when you're struggling. Yeah. You're not far away from oblivion.
I can 100% agree with that.
But as you're succeeding, it becomes easier with time to garner more success.
100%.
You know? So that's what it means in like a practical way. And like,
I can personally from experience
I think
agree with that.
You can see it in education. Like if someone's struggling, if you miss a math lesson, right? Yeah. And you're not very good at math. You're pissed. Come the next day and you haven't like looked at the lesson. You're gonna be way behind.
That's very true.
Even if you're clever, you're gonna be behind, but you can catch up in like the first 5 minutes of the lesson. Just continue, right? But then after that, you'll be more behind every single time you come to class, and it spirals really quickly from you being a B student to an E student or a C student, like very, very fast.
That's very true.
You know,
I think that is just a point proven that our world is not linear. Like our world is like full of just like compound exponential rises and decays.
Yeah.
In a sense, like if you're doing like if life is not going well for you, depression is coming faster than you think. Do you see what I'm saying? And like the same thing is like as soon as you're good financially, the chances of you becoming a millionaire skyrocket as well.
It's not the chance, like it doesn't skyrocket because not like loads of people aren't millionaires, but there was a thing I was reading about like in America. The reason, I don't know, there's a huge difference in America between the 1% and some other people, but so many people go through the 1%. A lot of people, I think the thing is, I can't remember the percentage exactly.
Yeah.
It's like 25% of Americans have gone through the 1%, have been part of the 1%, then move out.
Oh, okay.
But there's constant fluctuation.
I see what you're saying.
And it depends on what you mean by 1%. 1% of Americans, 1% of people. Because if you're talking 1% of people on the planet, every single person in America is in the top 1% of people on the planet.
That's very true.
Or a huge majority of people in America.
True.
Anyway.
That's very true.
Like, the poverty line in Africa is way lower than the poverty line in America.
Yeah.
Like,
that's just the sad truth.
Yeah. Being in the 1% in, like, some African country...
It's like average.
It would be like a low wage in an American country.
I mean, you can speak from experience. How is it in Nigeria?
I mean, luckily I didn't.
Because
really,
you're from a good background.
Yeah.
You've probably met
there are
people.
A lot of poor people. There's a lot of poor people. I mean, I wasn't really in the around the in region. French they call it bidonville. It's like these like
favelas.
Really, not favelas. Let me see if I can get the name. Bidonville in English. In English. Slum.
Slums. Yeah.
So, I wasn't really around those places too much, so I couldn't really see too many.
They're not the safest.
People. Yeah, but like you can see poor people everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though there'll be beggars on the streets, there'll be like people have really low wages. It's not ideal, and
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, like, definition of poor is extremely different.
Yeah.
From country to country, and like when you listen to like I think especially like hip hop or rap.
Okay.
And these people are like when they listen with the best songs are people with the biggest struggles. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The most
because it's like a success story.
Yeah, it's like a success story. But like when I'm listening to like certain like rappers from like London saying how tough their life is, and like they're barely eating any food or stuff like that. Like I'm not saying that like you're not struggling. It's just that your struggle is not as bad as your struggle like is, and you I know how much the government in England when it comes to others is very good. Like you can get benefits and you can live like this country will give you a house if you're not making money. Like a single mum is like, this is one of the best countries to be a single mum in. Do you see what I'm saying? And like the struggle exists, don't get me wrong. It's just that people they never think like I like extremely appreciate where I am. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't give, like, for example, I don't give a flying fuck that my parents are not paying for my uni, because the fact that I am going to uni in and of itself is, like, for me, an extreme success, and I am extremely happy and proud because, like, my dad is from a broke-ass village in Poland. My man had he had one pair of socks that he had to wear the whole week. And look at me. So, I don't like speaking about my like struggles, because I don't think relative to this world I ever really had to struggle. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's hard to tell people that
you're not struggling.
That their struggle is not really relative to someone's. Yeah. So that's why, and people can't live other people's struggle except if they're really good at empathizing. Empathizing is like basically being able to really put yourself in someone else's shoes. Like actually.
Yeah.
Like be able to empathize.
That's a very good
being
skill.
Able to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
Like properly, not just I empathize with you, but I don't really feel what you feel. No, like empathy it's a very strong, it's a very powerful thing to feel.
Yeah.
Really.
I can say that from experience because.
And I think it would be very hard to try and fully empathize with a really poor African kid.
Yeah, that's also very true.
Like,
no idea.
If you don't even know what it feels like
to
not eat for like 4 days in a row.
Of course.
Like actually not eat anything and your ribs are popping out and
that's crazy, man.
You're walking in the sand and it's dry and it's hot and
Literally.
It's like 40 degrees Celsius outside and your feet are burning from sand. It's not easy. Well,
I feel
lucky that I haven't experienced any of it. It's
definitely.
I think it's something people should be grateful for.
100%.
Not having experienced it. I mean, it's sad that it happens, but you know.
It is what it is. I mean, we can only try to change the world.
We can only do
one
so
block
much
at a time.
in so little time. Little time, because it's not like it's gonna fix itself quickly.
It's not. It's possible to fix.
It's possible to fix.
It's possible to fix. Remember what I was saying? Like, how if like in theory, this is all hypothetically speaking, if everyone decided to all do like STEM subjects, we'd be able to progress technology to such a amazing level that we could get most of these poor countries to a fairly stable financial like independency, because right now a lot of African countries just also depend on like aid.
Other countries.
Do you see what I'm saying? Which is also so bad.
Yeah, it doesn't help because it doesn't promote like actual productivity.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help a country get like on its own 2 feet and start walking.
Yeah.
You said, who was the person that was saying this about the machines?
Who said this was Naval Rakivant. This very, very intelligent man. He was on Joe Rogan podcast, and I remember him saying that like as soon as we like hit a certain point of like automation as well, where robots actually start doing a lot of our shit, then there's a point where us humans, we just need to focus on our happiness. Because right now, a big problem is like this. If someone ever tells you that money doesn't give happiness, it's a bunch of nonsense. Money is an extremely real problem on this world, and you will be worried if you don't have money. It will give you stress. It will make you sad. If you take that away, and if you solve the problem of like financial instability, then people can actually start focusing on like being happy.
I think that's the word, stability. I think it's not about money. Doesn't give you happiness inherently, but it gives you stability. So it gives you freedom. It gives you something to stop thinking about. Another thing to stop thinking about. Yeah, you don't need to think about whether you're going to eat today. Yeah. You don't think about whether you're gonna lose your house today. Yeah. You know, so that just removes a lot of burden from your body. It's like you're holding it's like you're carrying a heavy bag. Yeah. You're not meant to be carrying, and then you take off the books you don't like.
Exactly.
You don't need.
Exactly.
And it becomes lighter.
Life becomes simple. Like a rich person, like the only reason rich people say that like money doesn't give happiness is because they have all this money, and now they're looking at it, and it's just like this Lambo. You know, it's just short-term excitement and happiness. The most important and the most like fundamental things in our life are the simplest ones. Like think about it, having children, having a wife, and having a family. It's like the most everyone has that. Yeah. It is something like everyone on this world basically has. Like obviously, like your family. I'm talking about blood. Like you can have dickhead family members, right? Yeah. But like everyone wants, or at least most people want to have like a happy relationship with a partner, and maybe have children, and those are usually the things that give people the most happiness. It's never going to be the money.
It's not happiness, because people think happiness like this short term excitement, the buzz, like
it's completely different. I
think it's more like contentment.
You
live, you're satisfied with life. You wake up and you like have a decent outlook on life. You see your kids. You have breakfast with your family. It's nice. You go to work. Even if work isn't great, you can come back home sometimes. And you see your family. You're a bit happy. It gives you like it gives you a consistent source of satisfaction.
Exactly.
You know? It's I think it's very satisfying to have a good family.
Definitely.
Even like I'm young. I'm not married and I'm not in a relationship. So, but like just being with my family gives me like contentment.
Definitely.
Helping out my little brother.
Definitely.
It helps me out too, in some sense, because it's like I'm doing something that's going to be a net positive to my family, and as a result of that, it's going to be net positive to the world as well. Because if we are good people, the more good people there are, the like it's like when, you know, when like a charity will ask you to donate a little bit of money, and you go, oh, but if only I donate, what's it gonna do? It's not like if only you donate. Is if a lot of people have this outlook and this like will to help their family, will to make people improve in their family, will to improve themselves, to set an example for other people to improve as well.
Yeah.
So many people will improve. For example, if today you decided that, let's say you're gonna work a lot, like you're gonna always
hustle,
be working, you're going to set your life and you're going to try and better yourself in a short period of time.
I understand.
As a result of that, at least one person from your extended family or from your friends, at least one person is going to go, wow, he's doing something cool. Let me try it out for myself.
Yeah. And it becomes influence. It rubs off.
It rubs off. And by the time you know it, it's gone to so many people. Because so many people now find out, this guy's doing something. And now your friend's doing the same thing. And some of his friends, I see 2 of his friends find out. And 3 of their friends find out. From every branch, it expands and it goes out quickly. Yeah. And all of a sudden, indirectly or directly, you've influenced 1,000 people. Yeah. And you have no idea about it.
That's very
you don't
true.
know anything about it, but you've had an influence.
That's very true.
Just by setting a positive example.
Yeah.
Not by doing anything like exceptional. You're not going and like lecturing people about getting better. You are getting better. And as a result of that, other people are also getting better.
It's like a side effect. It's like a bit of a side effect.
It's a positive side effect.
Yeah. I was also going to, like, if you take the conversation back, like, 2 minutes, I was going to add that there's also a big difference between, like, doing, like helping someone, like, from your family because it's your role or something that it's kind of, like...
Something you're meant to do.
You're meant to do, and it's that, like, that gives you satisfaction when you do it. But, like, recently, for me... I have made sure that every single like interaction that I do with someone, sounds like I'm crazy, but I do it because I genuinely want to speak to this person or I genuinely want to help this person, and I get so much more like happy. Like I genuinely feel happy that after I've just done this. Like I don't like now like when my mum asks me to do something, it's not a. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I'm not home often anyways. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So I do as much as I can, and it's because I want to, not because like I have a responsibility anymore. I think as soon as you just kind of live in the present and do as much as you can for what it is, you'll be a much happier person. Yeah. Not satisfied. Because satisfaction is different. It's kind of like with maths. Some people like maths because they just like, I got it right. Do you see what I'm saying? You get the equals 3. And then there's also the people who just find maths, people call it beautiful. Like it's an art form and they love the process. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And they love the fact that they had to sit there for 3 hours. They like the struggle. They like everything about it, not just the satisfaction, the dopamine at the end of it that makes them a bit more happy and excited. I think that's the big difference.
Yeah, I think it's important to appreciate moments with your family.
No, definitely.
It's
for what it is.
I mean, yeah, like
not because of their family. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
because it's special. It's if you're talking about it genetically, you're directly talking to someone that's genetically linked to you.
Yep.
Which is why there's an appeal. Don't worry. Thanks. There's an appeal to like having children, because it's like
You're passing on
it's
your
like
genes.
you're passing on your genes. It's a way, in sorts, to live forever on Earth.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I know it's not the same as living forever. Like
A part of you is
yeah.
going to stay
Yeah.
on.
An actual,
Yeah.
real part of you
Yeah.
is staying. There's this biologist, Brett Weinstein.
Yeah.
He was talking about the relationship between, what was it? He was talking about the relationship between religion and biology. It was interesting that he was
Ooh.
linking it metaphorically, because he was talking metaphorically. He wasn't talking literally.
Yeah.
So what he said was, first he changed the definition of truth as something that will benefit, something that will be the outcome of the action is a net positive.
Okay.
That's what he meant by truth, not truth that you see in science, like you come out with an equation and then you can test it out as an experiment and then it comes out as true.
Yeah.
So his truth was, so the outcome of an event, the outcome of an action is a net positive.
Mm-hmm.
So what he was saying is, so he's a biologist and he was talking about religion's metaphoric truth. That's what he
Okay.
was saying. So he was saying, according to him, religion is metaphorically true in the sense that it actually helps us improve
Our lives.
It makes our genetic pool fitter.
Ooh. So you're saying that, like, if you take these religious, like, scriptures metaphorically, our genes
No, not only like
become better?
No. Like, not as a direct effect of being religious, but so. And
Like, evolutionary, you'll be a better person.
No,
and
your
it kind
children.
Yeah,
You
so.
keep, because if you follow the tenets of the good things about religion, like if you follow the Ten Commandments, for example, from Christianity properly, and,
Yeah, 5 pillars of Islam.
and you like you respect them.
Yeah.
You set yourself up in a way of life that's more conducive and more in the norm, and it helps you later because you also put yourself in a position where you can give your children a good upbringing.
Yeah,
and-
100%.
And give your children a way to live that's law-abiding and also.
I think a
can
good moral
be
compass.
yeah,
It gives you a good moral compass.
I assume so.
If you
yes.
take it metaphorically, and I think the word metaphor is an extremely important word because
Yeah.
a lot of like these religious leaders say that like these like the Bibles, the Torahs, the Qurans, they're all extremely still valid, and they are. Don't get me wrong, they are. However,
but
these things have been written by humans, 2,000, 1,500, 3,000 years ago. Do you see what I'm saying? The world has changed drastically. As the same way, like we have updates in our applications and in our political structures. Religion needs them as well.
There are some differences because, like, the reason Christianity became such a hit in Europe is also they went through a reform when it was going to be Judaism, but then they were like, hold on, if we go to Rome and we tell these guys and these women, but we tell especially these guys they have to cut a part of their penis.
Oh,
as
yes,
we get there,
circumcision.
they're gonna be like, get the fuck out of here.
True.
They're not gonna go and say, yeah, you know what? Let me actually do that. Just give me your appointment, the booking, and I'll go and do it. No, it's like.
Refill.
Yeah, it's like, let's not do that. So they call him Saint Paul.
First Pope.
He was he?
Yeah, he was the first Pope.
That.
Yeah, he was the first Pope. Okay, he's the guy who got stoned.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's I just read about the history of how it propagated into like Rome and stuff. So he was like, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's let people not need to cut their penises, and let's also make people be able to eat whichever food they want. Because before it was like for the Jews, it's kosher food.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And which is why sometimes you see Jews, they bring their food with them.
Yeah.
To someone's house and they eat their own food even if they're going to someone else's house. And so he was like, let's make it more not inclusive. Let's make it more accessible.
That's it.
Which is why so many people got into it, because it was way easier to practice, but it gives people the satisfaction they need, the God of the gaps they need to fill their lives, you know? So it helped them out.
I would say people are also less educated.
It was a way to structure society.
It was very, I mean, I think, as I was saying, back in the days, I think religion was an extremely good idea, still is, but like people are becoming more like aware, self-aware, and more overall populations being more educated. Yeah. And like that's why you see all these physicists who just don't believe in God.
Physicists have always had a knack of not believing. Yeah. Because it's not like they don't believe. What all of them say is basically they don't think there's enough compiled evidence to believe. Yeah. But they don't actively disbelieve. Yeah. That's the definition of well, we say atheism, but I was seeing this person who was like, oh, you shouldn't say it that way. It has to be atheism, because we call it theism when you believe in God. It's just adding an A prefix, so it's atheism, not atheism. Yeah. Anyways, what he said was like the act of not believing in God, but not actively disbelieving in God. Yeah. It's sort of confusing, but I think you can get your head around it.
I completely understand
what they're trying to say.
I've been in their mindset as well. I mean, I think like the first time I remember when I was like trying to deep how large everything is, but how insignificant we are. Yeah. Like in the totality of this whole observable universe that is probably also a fraction of what we
think.
Exactly. It just like, I don't know, like if your brain is not questioning that type of stuff, then you're just not aware of what's going on. You're just living unconsciously. You're still sleeping. I think those are important questions to ask yourself.
You're living consciously, but you haven't expanded your range of consciousness.
Maybe? Yeah, exactly. Like extremely limited. Like you only.
Like you think of the mundane.
Exactly.
But you know, it has to do with people that. So. Not many people are interested in talking about conceptual ideas all the time. I can talk about conceptual ideas all the time. I like that type of stuff. I think you're the kind of person that also likes that type of stuff. Yeah. I can just go on and talk about it and not get bored. No. Some people actually just get bored.
Yeah, they don't like philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't like it.
I find philosophy really interesting and really cool. Completely agree. It could confuse me sometimes. It could like blow your brain and you're like, what the fuck is going on? But also it's like... It's interesting to contemplate every once in a while. Well, I say every once in a while, but
every day. Every day.
What's going on everywhere.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like just the act of being curious and questioning.
Intellectually curious, right?
It doesn't even have to be.
It can be just
everything. It can anything, like any interaction we have. If you just walk away and you just reflect. Yeah. Oh, was I rude? Was I not rude? Do you see what I'm saying? Like selflessly, or if it's with philosophy, like you're reading a book and you stop and think, does that actually make sense to me? Every single question you ask yourself has value. Even though you may not have an answer, the act of questioning makes you a more intelligent person.
It makes you a more...
And this is with just pure intelligence and emotional intelligence. It's the same thing when you're interacting with someone. And you had let's take an extreme scenario. You just had someone just robbed you and you caught him and you absolutely fucked him up and you made him bleed and everything. And most people will step away and that's it, the end of the situation. And if that happens to them again, they probably will do the same thing. But I can promise to you, there's a million ways of handling that scenario. And if you reflect on it, I promise to you, you will find a better way of doing that, of getting your wallet back and not killing the guy and him getting a consequence, if you see what I'm saying. Okay. So that is, I think that's the big significance of questioning. On the other point, as soon as you start questioning classical philosophy, it's also fantastic.
Yeah.
Because you think of like all of these political structures, they're all based on like old Greek philosophy, right?
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast recently, like basically yesterday, and it was talking about this exactly, the point of questioning.
Yeah.
It says it's important to question, but it's difficult to question your fundamentals. If you question the fundamentals of something, it can really mess you up, like the axioms of mathematics, you know.
Okay, yeah. Like why is 1 1 and why yeah.
Like if you start questioning those, then you can get into a tricky situation where there are no definitions of anything, and you're just moving in a space where you don't know anything about anything.
It becomes weird.
Because like you can take the example that was given was it was talking about a relationship. He was like, imagine you're in a relationship, and at one point, after a while, you question, is this the right relationship I should be in? If you're questioning the fundamental root of the relationship, which is if it wasn't the right relationship to be in, you wouldn't be in it to begin with. At the start.
So the fact that you're in it,
when you went in it at the start, the part is this the right relationship was a given. Now that you question it, you put all of that in
like a Pandora's
turmoil.
book.
Everything starts moving crazy.
And
you have to.
I completely
reflect
understand.
on it completely.
But I feel like with relationships specifically, I can from experience say that one of my biggest regrets is not like every day questioning if how stable is my relationship. I took a lot of things for granted. I thought they were much better than they were, and same thing, I was just not aware. I was not fully conscious of what's going on. And so then what happens is when a person like in my scenario, my ex broke up with me, and I was like, fuck, what the fuck just happened? Why? I was just shocked. I was shocked. Like it was like for me, I just wasn't prepared, and I didn't know what was going on. Why? After only like literally a whole month or two, the answers just start coming to you if you just sit down and actually think. My mind was busy, and I didn't know what was going on. Didn't question anything. Didn't actually fully consider the other person.
You said like to be able to come up with the answers, you had to really deeply think and meditate.
Exactly. So like for me, meditation's been a big savior. For the past 2 months, I've been meditating every single day, and
explain what meditating is. Like
meditating is
how you do it.
For me personally is I reach a state where I am conscious about my consciousness, or I think about my thinking, and I am fully aware. And also, it is also the point where your mind is at peace. There is nothingness. And the way I can like say this in a metaphor is, imagine you have your email, right?
Yeah.
And you've got like 25 emails. The same way your brain has these notifications. And if you sit there and you flick through all these emails, sooner or later you will reach 0. And that is the state of peace. And that's when your mind is clear and you can actually figure out stuff. You can actually get answers to things that you didn't even question. Like for me, there was even things that I got answers to that initially I didn't even aware. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Like my biggest one, I remember to like extremely clearly, I stood up from like a meditation, and I knew exactly why I was such a stingy person once. Okay. And it was all to do with the fact that when I came to London from Poland, like both my parents from same exact village, and overall fairly poor people, and it's not that like they themselves still had the poor man mentality. Every single crumb had to be eaten. Like there was no waste of money. That something like that just didn't exist, and it was inherently bad in our household to waste that type of stuff. It was like
real humility.
Yeah. And kind of it's something just, as I said, it rubbed off. And it, like when you're a child, you're not even fully conscious yet. Do you see what I'm saying? So
you're being molded.
Exactly, you're being molded.
By so many things.
And when you reach the age of 18, like I am, and this happened to me luckily now, but this happens at different stages to people, and and the inbox is empty, and you're at peace, then it comes, and you're like, wow, so this is why. And I think it's great. Like the thing is with me was I went through what I would consider trauma to some stage. Like I fully lost myself, and I reached actually a certain point where I was tired of being unhappy.
Okay.
And when you're tired of being unhappy, you don't give a flying fuck anymore about absolutely nothing. You just want to change what's going on. And for me, that was losing my own self.
Okay.
So the thing is, when I broke up with my girlfriend, she broke up with me, she was a part of me. And when she left, basically my identity became crushed. There was no more identity to me, and that was the biggest problem. I felt like I wasn't whole without that person.
Yeah.
And the key thing about anything is that you have to be whole by yourself, and the other person is supposed to be just an extension of you, not your other half.
Okay.
Because as soon as they're your other half, you lose yourself, but you don't even know. I only know that I was basically delusional all the time, and this is what I'm saying, these answers only become aware when you are in a state of peace.
Would you say it's delusion, or just more of taking things for granted, like a mild ignorance on things?
100%. It's
I don't think it's delusion, because so many people get themselves in situations basically everyone thinks something they have is better than what it actually is. For some time. So maybe it's just it's mild ignorance on what's happening.
Definitely,
to what's happening.
Definitely.
Because I wouldn't say it's delusion, because
I felt like
I was.
Yeah, it is a heavy word. A heavy word.
It's a heavy word.
But as soon as these answers day by day start kicking in, I was thinking, fucking hell, for 17 years of my life, I was literally living in, I was not aware of what's going on in my own head.
Yeah.
I was in limited consciousness.
It's like you were functioning on autopilot.
Yeah, and I didn't know that the autopilot was on.
Okay.
That's the thing. Now, for example, I know when I'm doing something and I'm doing it with the autopilot. And for 17 years of my life, I can say for a fact that I was so used to this autopilot, I didn't know I was an autopilot. And then that's the point when you're lost.
I assume.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference is I haven't really ever meditated, but I need to try it sometime.
I highly recommend.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and the science behind it.
To me, yeah, I know, and I think
that's very important.
You explained something. There's a release in DMT.
Yeah, in a
meditate.
Place in your brain. I can't example. It's in the front of your brain, and
wait, search it. Let's
search
see
it up.
Where
is DMT produced?
In the body.
It's in the brain. It's a pineal gland.
Okay.
There we go. It's in your pineal gland, and when you meditate, it your pineal gland actually wakens up in a bit, and that's why some people who master meditation are able to go through transcendent experiences, because this chemical reaches high amounts, and then you see.
And DMT is a powerful chemical.
Powerful chemical.
That's why people take it to have trips and.
Taking DMT is the lazy way, basically, of people who meditate for 10 years.
Yeah, it's a fast forward meditation. I don't think this type of things should be called drugs in the same way coke is a drug or something.
100%.
Because it's not fair to classify them as the same thing.
100%.
You take LSD, you're not getting high.
No.
It's you're tripping.
You're tripping.
So,
I think the problem with drugs is that usually drugs have a chemical which addicts you.
Yeah.
Right?
And you don't get addicted to hallucinogens.
That's the thing with psychedelics.
Yeah.
With psychedelics, the thing is people do get addicted to it, but it's not for the same reason. The way people get addicted to this drug is there's only one actual reason for it, and it's that you enter the trip. Yeah. Usually, certain people, before the trip, they have a question that they want an answer to.
And
they leave, and there is an answer to that question, but every single answer leads to more questions.
Yeah.
And this cycle continues. This cycle continues.
Okay, yeah.
And that is the only thing which is, and it's not the drug itself. It's just you.
Yeah, it's like how you don't get chemically addicted to something like weed. You know, I don't think you can. I don't know about it really that much, but I think you can't get chemically addicted to weed, but you can get addicted to the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
Like maybe all years you were talking about like how some people like all their social life revolves around other people that smoke weed.
Exactly.
So all they would do is they need to smoke it to be able to socialize with these people.
Exactly.
You know.
I mean, French culture, cigarettes, crazy.
Yeah.
I met a girl when I was in London, and she said that when she was like going to school in Paris, it was an instinctive thing to do.
Like pick up a cigarette.
Literally, it was muscle memory. She said it was muscle memory. Open up the packet, taking a cigarette and lighting it. She said there was at the point there was no real satisfaction of inhaling this drug, because it was just so instinct. The body got used to it.
Yeah, I mean, cigarettes. I know you're using the drug like talk metaphorically. Like cigarettes aren't a drug, but they're really really bad.
Yeah, but a cigarette's no.
It has stuff that hooks you, like nicotine.
Nicotine is the addictive component.
Yeah, it has. Well, nicotine is the one that really hooks you. Yeah. Then there's loads of shit in cigarettes that actually make them bad for you, because I think some people define drugs as things that take you out of your normal state of mind. You know?
So tobacco is the actual thing that makes you feel a bit like more
woozy.
chill. Yeah, and it's a leaf, so.
I don't think it's a drug because it doesn't change your state of mind I don't know how I'd say this. It doesn't change your state of mind completely. In that sense, like you're still.
Are you talking about cigarettes?
Yeah.
I mean, you can drive and you.
Yeah, you can drive on cigarettes.
It's not a significant thing. That's why it's legal, right? That's why it's legal. But the health.
I think some things deserve to be more. Some things are more deserving of being legal than cigarettes.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know how they're legal. I don't know.
Weed deserves to be legal before cigarettes.
100%.
Cigarettes are so damaging.
So damaging.
To like people's lives
100%.
In terms of how much it ruins your lungs, how much it shortens your life.
Yeah.
But yet there's more of a taboo on something like weed.
Yeah, I don't know what it really is. It's so
I think it's just because
strange. I think it's the culture from like
I think it's because they hadn't if they were to legalize either or now, like if cigarettes were still banned, were not promoted back in the day, I think weed would be legalized before cigarettes. If they were both not legal, if they were both illegal beforehand, you know, at the same period of time.
Do you know what it is though? It's the money.
Yeah, cigarettes bring bucket loads of money.
Money. At the end of the day, that's the sad truth.
I was reading about like at the start when they started producing cigarettes, they were telling people it's good for your health. They told people it's good for your throat.
Bro, I remember doctors used to prescribe cigarettes.
That is it. Yeah.
Crazy shit.
It was recently I saw this like
crazy shit.
If you look at the old ads, it's like take a cigarette, it'll help your throat.
Trust me.
Like
mad stuff.
And then they found out it doesn't, so the companies started hiring actors and like, oh, take a cigarette, you'll be cool.
Yeah.
And people were still doing that. And then they had to like legally put like disgusting pictures on cigarettes. And
the thing is that doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop because when the nicotine hook hits you, I don't think there's much you can do to.
Definitely.
But I think it's. What is it called? Relapse. It's why people can relapse a lot. It's like also when someone's an alcoholic.
Okay.
They recommend for them to go sober completely. Usually.
That's crazy.
With time.
Oh, obviously. Time. Yeah, it
like
has
to
to
go
be
into rehab, but the reason they say to go sober is because your relationship to the alcohol has completely changed to what it was beforehand.
Yeah.
Like someone that's not an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So what that does is when you go back to tasting it, It's like going back to your drug.
Hmm.
And so you can relapse faster than someone that's never been an alcoholic who just drinks it every once in a while and just enjoys alcohol for what it is all the time anyways. And I think it's the same with cigarettes, which is why like some people quit like 20 times in their lives.
Yeah,
keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's also the social factor. Like they were heavily glamorized back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like all my uncles, I remember when they went to the military, because you had to have 2 years military service in Poland.
They came back smoking.
Smoke, like it's just like what, like all the man them are chilling on your break. These man don't smoke, and the thing is, craziest part is they didn't even smoke proper cigarettes.
Was it?
Like it was like the thing is they didn't even know it was some dead Russian brand off-brand cigarette. It wasn't like proper cigarette with like filters or anything, bro.
I think
paper and tobacco, bro.
that's actually better for people. I think. I don't know. Can you see like is rolling tobacco better than cigarettes for people? Because I'm not sure, but I think it might be because they don't have all the.
Is rolling tobacco better than cigarettes?
Yeah, rolling tobacco. Better than there is.
Roll-ups are at least as harmful as for you as ordinary cigarettes and can cause the same health risks.
But I mean, is it as addictive? Maybe.
No, it can't be addictive because it has no nicotine.
Where's the nicotine?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But I think it's to do with the smoke.
I think it's more the smoke that like has health repercussions, but the nicotine that has,
for example, me
hooking power.
I've never smoked a cigarette, never smoked tobacco, but I've smoked weed. Why? It is the only reason. If I'm going to like damage my health, like I'm going to do it, like I'm going to gain an effect which is worthy of kind of affecting my health, if you see what I'm saying.
So you're taking a less of a net negative.
Yeah, exactly. When I smoke weed, at least, bro, like you can feel shit happening. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's long. Like my first, like some of my trips lasted like trips. Like my highs were like 2 hours long. Like if you smoke a cigarette, apparently it's like 2 or 3, 5 minutes, and then after another 20 minutes, these men are pulling out another cigarette.
Yeah.
So it's just a waste of money, a waste of your health. You're killing yourself slowly.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I don't think I don't see myself smoking. Hopefully, I've surpassed the peer pressure age. Hopefully. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, you are at university.
I am. But also, there's already been so much motivation, not by me, but by other people, for me to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
and
I've been at parties, I've been at, like, events, and so many people want to either smoke cigarettes or weed, and I don't have much against weed, but I don't smoke it. I don't smoke.
No, I get you.
But I think it's less harmful than cigarettes.
I think there's research showing that.
I think they should. They should like legalize. They should legalize weed as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
In so many places.
It will stop a lot of crime. I think,
and you'll be able to tax it as well.
Yeah, and you make money. I don't really see like what's going on with these governments. They're just sleeping. That you can make money. You can decrease crime, which will make you even more money. Because you're not sending all these policemen everywhere all the time. Like in London, stop and searches. It's just off the roof. More for knife crime, but for drugs as well. Like if you legalize this, you don't have to have these stop and searches for drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like weed it's everywhere. It is everywhere, literally everywhere.
You can go around the corner and buy weed.
This is what I'm saying. So, like, if you are able to legalize it, you're able to have control over it. You're able to make money over it. Like, I don't know, man. I think it's just these like old politicians with this taboo nature. Like they've been inherently told that weed is this bad thing for these hippies which don't give a fuck about life. Yeah. I mean,
from both standpoints, whether you're conservative or liberal, I think for both those camps, it would make sense to legalize it.
I'm pretty sure too.
Like, even for like the people that are on the extreme, like very Republican or very conservative.
Yeah.
Right. I think it would still make sense to legalize weed because then you can control it.
Yeah.
For those that believe that it's not a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think you can't. It's hypocritical to believe alcohol should be legal and weed shouldn't.
It's like for me at least, everything is legal. Like with these drugs, or nothing is. It's like the same like a tobacco.
You know,
it's just a leaf, right?
Mm.
The same thing. DMT. It's a chemical. It's created in your brain. Why can't we consume it? A lot of people have that argument. It's a naturally occurring drug in like a lot of animals. Like people, it's like in toad venom or something like that.
Like people get toad venom and then smoke it.
It's there's thousands of arguments for all these drugs. Some of them are just inherently bad, like heroin or cocaine.
I mean, heroin is really
heroin is like extremely bad.
It's so similar to morphine, isn't it?
Morphine's the anti-pain.
I think heroin's very similar, which is why people have the people like to take it. Heroin.
Effect. What does it actually do?
I think it's very close to morphine.
I can't spell heroin.
I think it's very close to morphine.
Drug addiction. NHS, you're not helping us, are you?
Let's see. Yeah.
What are the immediate short-term effects?
Oh, is it an opioid?
Opioids can depress breathing by changing neurochemical activity in the brainstem, where automatic body functions such as breathing and heart rate are controlled. I
think heroin is close to... Just write, is heroin like morphine? See what comes up.
Is heroin...
like morphine? No, not morphine. Is it like morphine? Because I know it's not, but it's very, very close in the effect it has.
What's the difference between heroin, fentanyl, morphine, and oxycodone? This is a long article.
Just see. So morphine is a naturally occurring substance derived from the opium poppy.
Plant. Everything's plants, bro. Everything. All these drugs.
And heroin is processed from morphine. There you go.
Interesting. So morphine should be legal.
Heroin not. Morphine is too. The reason these two are really, really bad is how powerful their effect is. They're way too powerful. Like if they take you out of hospital, they need to keep checking you to make sure.
Okay.
If you've been on morphine, they need to make sure you're not doing heroin.
Do you know what I find interesting? Because I've been reading *Sapiens*, isn't it?
Okay.
And it's it talks about the start of our species, and most of our species were not hunters actually, but we were foragers.
What is that?
And foragers are people who just gather they scavenge through the woods, pick up mushrooms, berries.
Oh, so did we end up eating loads of psychedelics?
Yeah. And that is apparently how things like religion and
that's very
creativity
possible,
has stemmed from because it was like this. You see this new plant, you need to try it, and this person dies from taking this. Okay, we're not gonna take this. Yeah. This guy takes this drinks some fucking toad venom. Oh shit!
He's
and he's like, guys, take this this toad venom, and then all from a sudden you see these statues of a Lion King and something. And where from? I mean, it has to be from somewhere.
But I think the mushroom you're talking about is psilocybin. Psilocybin mushrooms. Those are the magic mushrooms that people talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Those give trips as well.
Yeah, they do.
And there was a tiny study made, and the reason I mention it's tiny is because it was actually a really small study.
Okay.
But it had an overwhelmingly positive outcome. Mm-hmm. So what they did was they gave psilocybin to these people, and the aim of the experiment was for these 40 people to stop smoking cigarettes. Okay. They took psilocybin 1 or 2 doses.
Yeah.
And never smoked again.
Ooh.
They didn't even have withdrawal symptoms.
Really?
Now, that sounds promising, but I think they should do a bigger study. Psilocybin, and if they have a mystical experience, they stop smoking.
Oh, okay.
Not if they take psilocybin and have nothing.
Yeah.
when they've had that mystical-ish experience,
Yeah.
they stop smoking. But that's a small study, and I think it's important to say that it's small.
Yeah.
With 40 people, you don't get much. If you do it with 40,000 people, that's a different... But you're not going to get 40,000 people to take shrooms. Like it's... what is this, Peter?
No, because I was just checking what was the first pop. The first pop was Peter.
Okay.
St. Paul, so
okay.
I was wrong.
That's fine. This is why I like podcasts and like
you learn a lot.
You can also like search and correct yourself during a discussion. I think it's quite.
I mean,
cool.
I only got like a 5 in my RE, which is like a C.
I've never done RE.
I was not the
RE
best.
stands for like religious studies, and it's a very British.
It's a British
thing.
subject. Yeah. It's a European thing.
I don't think they do it in France because they're like. France is completely.
The
word is laïque, which means.
So no religion in politics.
Yeah, no religion no religion in education, no religion in politics.
I think that's actually a good idea. It's like no opinion on it because like.
Yeah, they don't talk about it much, but if it comes up as a historical thing.
That's very good in my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Because you learn I'm pissed because.
I think rather than RE, there should have been like proper philosophy.
Theology. They should just call it theology, which is.
Okay.
Because philosophy, I think, is too much.
Philosophy is too in depth.
Yeah, it's too much for
16-year-olds.
100%. But theology is just like it's kind of it's a subgenre of philosophy of religion, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's good because you still have to learn about this religion, but it gives a bit of spice. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get nuance.
Yeah,
because you get to see it from a holistic point of view.
Exactly, no bias. Like if you're in a Catholic school, when they speak, like they are going to inherently know way more about Christianity, and they're gonna say like better things. But like, I was reading like the book, The New Earth, and like some of the things that like Buddha said and did, extremely wise stuff. Like, and you know, I'm like 18 and I'm really reading about how wise of a man Buddha was, for example.
Yeah, you're telling me about Buddha, like he wasn't any deity. He was just like a really wise man. Yeah,
but like this is the story. Like, he was extremely rich. Like when he was born, he was a part of like his father was a king or something like that. God knows. So.
Okay.
And his dad was I'm not going to let you go out to see the actual real world because he was scared of all the pain and all the fear and all the anger that is inherently born within us humanity, like the suffering, the negative side, like, and he just became like, as I was talking about, there was only this short-term happiness with him. There was no like full contentness. So one day he was just like, fuck it, man's gonna run away from this castle. He ran away and he saw like what was going on, poor people, beggars and everything, and he was just shocked. He was shocked. And I'm pretty sure he ran back, and then a few months later he ran he ran away, and this time he met a wise man, a spiritual man, and he said something to him. And it was something. It was just some very very wise stuff. And since that day, he never came back. He dropped everything, all his money, all his possessions,
and became extremely spiritual.
And he became Buddha. And I can't on the top of my head tell you some of the stuff he said, but like he talks about like pain and like how it's normal, and it's a part of this world, and it is going to happen, and you have to, and also like us humans, we're inherently selfish, for example, all of that stuff.
Yeah, well, we're inherently selfish, and we have a big confirmation bias as a human, which is why like if, for example, many people, if you're born into a certain religion, you stay in it your whole life.
Yeah, that's bad. Like I'm a Catholic Christian, but I take a lot of what like Buddhism says like with a thumbs up, and I agree.
Like you have thought about these things, right?
Yeah.
And you've thought about them whilst trying as much as possible to disregard and discard your confirmation bias towards your own religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important because our brain is programmed to have to be selfish. I mean, it serves us. It helps us that our brain is selfish, and so that's why the greed manifests itself physically after that.
I think it's incredible that what I find just in general incredible that there were these very aware people back in 2,000 years ago, like Jesus, Buddha, Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
And they were able to say extremely wise these things, and they were able to detach themselves from the norm, and that's why people this thing. All they was everything that they basically said in all of these things are all metaphors. Do you see what I'm saying?
What I think is yeah, but I do see what you're saying. The Buddha story is really nice because it's I
think this is the best quote.
He's a man amongst men. But
yeah, and he is a man. He's not considered a god, and that's also very cool because in essence we can become like him. Do you see what I'm saying? With I think
you can reach a state of mindfulness.
Yeah, just like him.
Exactly,
and that's why all these people go to Nepal and Tibet, because you can be just like Buddha in a sense. He is you can't be like Jesus. He in the Bible it says that this is God in human form, right? It's still God.
The Trinity.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, look, the root of suffering is attachment.
Okay. That comes back to what you meditated about.
Yeah. And it is facts. And this is not even just with attachment into types of relationships, but even your phone, for example. Yeah. You get attached to a physical object, just a piece of technology, and it's your phone. The phone is they purposely try to attach you to it. And it's so effective. They get such clever people. It's some of the smartest engineers on the planet are working on getting you hooked on your phone. Yeah, and it's social scientists working on it.
And when basically everyone's hooked on their phone, that's how you know these people are really, really clever. Because you have more people, I think I don't know about this, but I think there are more people with phone addiction than almost any other
It's the worst addiction in the world because it's so hard
to get away from.
That's why I deleted most of my socials because I know I think there's a series on Netflix.
Yeah, the social dilemma.
Yeah, and I watched that and I was like, raw, this is the thing is I knew half of this stuff but it just didn't sink in.
Yeah, the thing is I already know it makes sense intuitively. It makes sense if you think about it that your phone is made to be addictive, right?
Yeah.
Because you just think how are the companies going to make money if it's not addictive? If someone can go, I don't need the phones anymore, and just stop buying, you lose a lot of regular clients, So they have a requirement to make phones addictive and technology addictive, but I sort of used the addiction I tried to use the addiction in a positive way in the past year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
So what I was doing is I shifted to, I use my iPad for all my notes.
Yeah.
And all my studies.
Yeah.
And I can say if I average out all the time I spent on my iPad a day for 1 year and a half, it would be maybe 8 to 9 hours a day on my iPad. One of those hours is YouTube and Netflix.
Yeah.
And whenever I have a show, it bumps up a bit. Whenever I have a show I want to finish, it goes up a bit and then it decreases again. But the rest of it's all productivity. It's all making notes, working on math, working on physics, doing the stuff I like. Sometimes I just try to do my own little derivations. So I've tried to use it in a productive way because I've used it in an unproductive way for so long.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can get so carried away with tech so quickly.
100%. It's fantastic, but it just like with everything, we humans, these famous people who are revolutionizing the world, their intentions are always good. And
I don't know if intentions are always...
No, but
okay, you mean
they think what they're doing is right.
Engineers and stuff.
No, I'm talking literally, I'm talking even a person like Hitler. If you go and ask him, do you think what you're doing is right? he will say yes. He genuinely has convinced himself that what he's doing is right and he is making the world a better place.
People do what they think is right.
Yes.
It doesn't, like...
Don't get me wrong, he's still brainwashed.
Or what they think is... Yeah, what they think is right.
What they think is right.
What they think is right, yes. Like, obviously there's a difference for... Do you think there'd be a difference for like psychopaths because they don't really care whether what they're doing is right or not?
But no, but because the psychopaths may still...
They're completely detached from emotion.
Oh, okay.
Psychopaths do not have a shred of like empathy or sympathy within them. Like they I don't know the exact difference between sociopath and psychopath, but I'm talking about the more extreme case, which is psychopathy.
Yeah.
You know, psychopaths are 1% of the population or something like that.
That's a very large number.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people. You've probably met a psychopath in your life.
I would say in relatively small portions, I used to consider myself as a psychopath myself. No, but I'm deadly serious. People like all these people that I've all these relationships and like friends and family. People used to always ask me like, "Bro, you're never sad."
Yeah, it's
you're not like you and like. It was more on the spectrum of sadness. Like people think people genuinely thought I just didn't care about anything.
Yeah,
and
I understand that. I can.
Sometimes I was like, "Fuck, there must be something wrong with me," and I'm searching up people who don't experience like extreme emotion or like proper like emotions.
I think my spectrum of emotion it's probably the same as everyone else's, but I haven't experienced I'm happy, I'm lucky I haven't experienced much sadness in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't experience happiness in such an intense way where you'd physically see it manifest itself on my face. Like when I'm buzzing, it'll be like, oh, he's okay, he's smart, he's like happy, it's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't get extremely happy, so someone can go, oh, he's fucking loving something, you know. So I've had.
You need to fall in love. No, you're laughing. But when you fall in love, I promise to you, like your brain, like if you're not extremely cautious, if you're not extremely cautious, you go through the like this crazy like stage of euphoria, and this is like chemically proven. You release the same chemicals in your brain when you're in a like at the start of a romantic relationship, and if you're taking cocaine. You feel like you are high on cocaine when you like reach romantic level of love. Yeah. And that's the most interesting part is that like our society thinks that like romanticism is this very good thing, and like Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
Have you read that? Do you know overall what's it about?
I mean, I sort of know like
the basics. Yeah. So like let's just say this. Like overall, there's a girl and a boy. They fall in love, crazy romantic love, guitars, flowers. Don't leave me. All of that stuff.
The whole thing.
Yeah, and they both killed it.
Who's it that dies first?
So one of them dies. No. One of them like takes something but doesn't like tries to kill themselves but it doesn't. The other person thought they killed themselves, so they killed themselves.
And they woke up.
Yeah, and it's and basically Shakespeare wrote that. The more like. To basically tell people this is bad, stay away from it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this was a warning.
Was that his intention?
That was his intention. This was not supposed to be a like a glamorous, oh my god, love is so beautiful type of thing. This was his exclamation mark to say run away. Do you see? This is not real love. This is romantic love, which just fucks up your brain cells basically. And like romantic love can stem into real love.
I mean, I think.
But it doesn't mean it's still right. Like this is still dangerous. It's extremely dangerous.
You know when they say like fantasy, so it's like fantastic romantic love. Like it goes into fantasy.
Yeah.
Fantastic realm.
Yeah.
But I think romantic love itself, like just being a good person to your partner, enjoying your time with them, that's a different thing. I mean,
no, definitely.
Because the reason so many marriages like fall apart as well. First of all, it's so easy to get a divorce in places like America.
I mean,
it's
divorce
so easy to get a divorce.
It's actually a joke.
In America, and 50% of marriages are broken or end up as a divorce in America, anyways.
That's very true.
the thing with that is people also, it's like you
It's
try so
overrated,
hard.
I say.
You try so hard to get into a relationship with someone
Yeah.
and get married with them. What makes you think you have to stop trying completely
Yeah,
after the marriage?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I think that's what I
That's why
always
so
say.
many-
It's when the journey starts, really.
Yeah, like you
Do
need
see
to
what I'm
continue. Like, at least if you're not doing it at the same frequency,
Yeah.
you're not doing it at the same intensity.
Yeah.
At least make a consistent effort to keep the romance there.
Yeah.
So the romantic part of the relationship as long as possible.
100%. Look, I'm not saying like
I know what
romantic
you're
love is
saying.
bad. I'm just saying that it's dangerous and it's overrated. Like,
Maybe it's not over it, but it is dangerous.
it's dangerous. And why the reason why I say it is overrated is because of Hollywood.
Maybe, possibly.
And
like movies.
Hollywood has shown, like, basically Hollywood doesn't show the actual important parts
The
of
bad
a
parts.
romantic relationship, which is the sitting down and crying in bed because you man are having a real serious conversation about your core values.
Okay.
And that is
Yeah, you're talking about that.
exactly. And like the only actual thing that you need for a relationship to work, like, is consistency and to have shared core values. Romantic love, as much as it's fantastic and giving someone flowers and taking them on a date is extremely nice, and from time to time it definitely boosts like the relationship. The core of it is core values and like consistently reflecting and speaking and like being on the same wavelength all the time.
Yeah.
As soon as one diverges from the other, shit hits the fan faster than you ever fucking think. And I am like myself. I would say that there was just a point where like my life was extremely like it was. I lost full control of everything. I was doing exams. I came back home for Christmas, and I have a 2-year-old brother, and like I was all around the house trying to help my mum and everything, and I was just so fucking like just busy, and I didn't like, I forgot basically in a sense that like sitting down and having a conversation and appreciating each other's core values, or identifying them, or trying to find the middle ground is the thing. It's not the date which will help it in the long run.
Yeah.
Most of the time it kind of hides it in a sense. Like you may have problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take her on a date and it will solve things.
Yeah.
That's
it's like putting a sticker on, putting a plaster on.
Yeah,
to a bigger wound than-
exactly.
than
It's
what it is.
I don't know. That's at least my theory from like I read a book called Attachment as well. I didn't read it, but I researched it. Sorry, and it talks about there's 4 main attachment styles, and I read also this book called The Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him.
It's such a fantastic book because like that's where my like it's his philosophy comes from Stoicism.
Okay.
From Marcus Aurelius.
Okay.
And he was a Greek philosopher, and the whole point of Stoicism is basically not to give a fuck about, and when you do give a fuck, make sure that it's worth giving a fuck about, because most of the time us humans,
it causes a value hierarchy of what you really
yes
pay attention to.
yes, and it's the same thing like in a relationship, for example. What do you need to really specify what you guys actually give a fuck about
Together.
like exactly like the girl like should sit down and ask herself like, do you really give a fuck about these flowers? Or the guy sits down and do you really do you care about the sex, or do you actually care about this person? Do you see what I'm saying? And choose what you give a fuck extremely wisely, because if you don't pick them right, then you can get yourself into you can cause yourself more pain than you need to as well.
Yeah. Well, I think what you say about core values is essential. I think it's really, really important.
Yeah.
Because once you share core values, you can get past a lot of downfalls in your significant other's personality.
Yeah.
Because you can get past that, because the bedrock of your relationship is really set properly,
Yeah.
and it's based on the same stuff.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is why
Yeah.
people that marry from, well, I don't know the exact stats, and I don't know whether this is actually a valid hypothesis for me to make, or a valid assumption, but I'd assume that people that are married from the same religion end up staying together longer.
It's easier.
Because
It's easier.
because the religion has already given them the values that they're going to, well, uphold and also give to their children and people around them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to also, they have the cultural similarities in terms of they'll go to church at the same time.
Definitely.
They'll at least treat people in a way that looks similar.
Yeah.
In some sense, you know, like a way that approximates to something that would be in the same. What would you classify it? It would be something.
Same idea.
In the same domain.
Ideology of thinking.
Yeah.
Something like that. I would say. Do you know what? That's true, but like reverse psychology. I feel like if a Muslim and a Christian are able to basically selflessly identify their core values, then they are I feel like they're gonna 100% work, because it's like if you're like overcoming like these basically
if you're overcoming all the disparities between
exactly then, and you do both identify that you do have these like core values that you both believe in, even though you're from different religions, then like
I'm not denying the fact that it would work, and I think it can work.
Of course it can work.
But I'm saying probably the most effective marriages are the ones of people from same religion. That's possibly the ones that last longest. I don't know whether it's the ones that produce the best children or whatever, but I think maybe it's the one.
Children.
Maybe it's the one that lasts the longest because
culture
just because of how similar they would be in terms of how they operate and what they like and what they dislike. You know,
I agree.
But also for the Muslim thing, you know, like a Muslim, I think a Muslim woman can't marry a Christian man.
Is it not like
it's not allowed? Man? The man has to convert to Islam, so that the children are Muslim, because if not, it's not in the benefit. If not, the children won't be Muslim, which isn't good, in terms of the propagation of the religion. You know,
that's not the best.
Yeah, but I mean, so many people don't actually just go ahead without having their husbands convert.
I think that's good.
Because
it's the man's decision.
A lot of people do it. Yeah, but like a lot of times that's the no-go. That's the reason that people won't get married. Someone just like, they're like, oh, he's not going to convert, I'm not getting married. And just don't.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot.
But that's bad.
I guess.
But in a sense, it's good. Like, that's what I'm saying. The problem is, like, when something happens, you inherently think of something bad as good. But I think in essence, if the person decides that she doesn't want to get married with you on the pure basis that you don't want to convert a religion because it's genuinely something you don't believe in, then it's probably a good thing that she fucked off. Because in the long run, you guys will have to
there'll probably be so many conflicts.
So, like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, if both, like,
I think
both
everything
ends,
stems from not everything, but a lot of things in religion stem from a practical and pragmatic root.
Yeah.
Like, it's like how Jewish people couldn't eat shellfish.
Oh, yeah.
It stems from the fact that some shellfish look exactly the same as non-poisonous shellfish, where you can eat it and die. On the spot, you just die. So I think that's why they just banned all of it. They're like, you know what? Because of the fact that you can die, and we want to keep our numbers strong, let's just say all shellfish is banned. We can't eat any shellfish. Maybe that will help us out in the long run. You know? Because there isn't the need to risk your life over something you have no idea is going to kill you.
That's true.
You know?
Do you know what's interesting though? Because Islam is the younger religion compared to Christianity.
Yeah, it's like 1,400 something.
But somehow Christianity has no actual like yes or no's to any foods. It's one of the only
Okay.
ones.
Because
And Islam does.
But Judaism's the oldest one.
Exactly, and
But it
it's
does
like
have as
Christianity is like this anomaly when it comes to terms of food.
I think it's because the one that was most westernized, you know?
Yeah,
It
probably.
was the one that took off the most in the West, so they had to
Yeah.
like reform it to fit in with the
Yeah,
with
But
the
in-
lifestyle, maybe possibly.
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
I'm not
But
sure
it,
as
it
well.
it might have like the reason is I think what Christianity does, it gives you like it's like when you start a project and you have a template and you fill in the template yourself. It doesn't tell you exactly what to do, it gives you an overview of what you
Yeah.
should be doing, and then you do it the way you do it, you know?
So, but from my knowledge, like in Islam, it's like you can't eat pork because back in the days, pork was like considered like the pig was considered like an unhealthy animal because it didn't sweat.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
That's and like now that we have like freezers and fridges and technology, so why
Can't Muslims eat pork? It's there.
pigs are described in this section as prohibited because they have a cloven hoof but don't chew their cud,
Okay.
and the pig because it what
I think it has to do. Okay, I think they're talking about the neck. I don't know. It's possible, because
I've heard of that sentence
because
before,
you know
though.
if something is halal, you have to cut it
Yeah,
from the neck,
yeah,
and
yeah,
pigs
yeah,
don't have
yeah.
like proper necks as per. So that's one of the reasons. I mean, there's a more in-depth reason,
So
but I'm not sure.
He says Islam's holy book, the Quran, makes it clear that one cannot sell or even touch pork. Absolutely no, he says here, so that we cannot. Ah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
So have you found out why, or does it just not?
There's something about a cloven hoof. Let me see what cloven hoof is.
Meaning.
Oh,
Those.
Oh, what? So apparently guys can't, like, Muslims can't eat animals because of, like, the type of feet they
No,
have.
because cattle is there, and people
Oh,
can eat
yeah,
cows.
example. So what does that have to do with... That just makes me... There's significance in Judaism. It's the same thing with Judaism, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think Jews don't eat pork either.
No, they don't. It's kosher, yeah.
Yeah, it's not kosher, you mean?
Yeah, it's not kosher, sorry. Damn.
Okay.
Something about this cloven hoof. I'll have to put
Anyways.
more research into that.
Yeah,
because
I think,
that's
well,
very interesting.
What I remember is, I think the pragmatic reason, the way like Jews don't eat shellfish, is because it was a dirty animal at the time. There was nothing.
Yeah,
you
that's
could
what
do.
I.
There's nothing you could do to treat it. So instead of risking people dying, you just ban the food completely.
Yeah, no, that was very intelligent at that time.
It makes logical sense for the time. you know?
100%. Like that was, I think, they were saving people's lives. But now, this is what I'm saying. Like, these scriptures are they're a bit old, and like, I don't feel like biologically eating pork right now is not the worst thing ever if it's well made.
Yeah,
like apparently
I assume so. I don't know.
it's apparently like the chance of getting cancer from pork is like percentage higher than beef or chicken, but it's still in like the tiny percentages.
Yeah.
And the stats are manipulated in a certain way so that like you can see them in the news so that they scare you, right? So they have an impact on you. So like this is why I don't really read like the news, because it's just there. It's all propaganda. Like
it's not propaganda. It's just
not propaganda.
You feel there's an
they're
agenda
trying to make
behind.
money. They're trying to make money at the end of the day, and they're trying to.
It makes sense to pick a side when you can make money by picking a side.
Exactly. So
I think
I'd rather speak to like a scientist who's done his research and given his unbiased opinion on it.
Yeah.
Than reading
But
from
it's,
BBC
like,
News.
what I was thinking is it's so hard to actually find how you access unbiased information. It's so hard to access unbiased information, except if you know the source of the source of unbiased information. So if you go up looking for a stat that goes against a media narrative, it'll be so hard to find.
You have to do it yourself, truly.
Yeah, You have to either do it yourself or find someone that speaks about it on YouTube or find someone that says something about it somewhere or find it on a blog or something.
It's basically anything which is not mainstream.
Yeah.
Like, look today, we were buying SafeMoon. SafeMoon is not a mainstream cryptocurrency, right? It took me a fucking hour to buy this crypto. Like, I had to go through we had to go through some stupid processes. You haven't even bought it yet. Like, it's you have to convert like one crypto to the other, send it to a different wallet, buy it through some weird ass like exchange, and like things which are just not mainstream are just so like very inaccessible.
I think the media is going to mainstream media will die off soon.
In what sense? Like,
already people don't watch it. Like, young people don't watch it.
Yeah, well, young people don't watch the news as much, definitely.
Young people don't watch the news because they find it really irritating.
It is annoying.
To watch the news now.
Yeah.
Because before, what journalism is you go in and you ask as incisive questions as you possibly can to get as much detail and as much in the most concise manner, and then you leave. So it's a form of intellectual curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I was saying, like, journalism was a form of intellectual curiosity to get to an answer, to get to a truth, essentially. But it's changed. Like, people ask very agenda-based questions now. It's like,
agenda-based
you try to corner someone into the image you've already molded of them.
Yeah.
You know? Rather than try to talk to this person to find out who they are.
Yeah.
Or find out what their ideas are. You corner them into who you think they are. And you propagate that image of them.
Yeah.
So if the media wants to screw your person, like, when I say person, I mean like your personhood, your person. When they want to screw your person, they can do it easily.
Yeah.
Because they can just they can pick and choose things that you've said, and then build that persona around you, and then make an interview with you, and you can speak for an hour. You can speak for an hour. They can cut it into a 10-minute thing. And say, oh, it's an edited interview, but already no one reads the fine print.
Yeah,
so they're like, oh, this is the interview.
That's very
10
true.
minutes long of you saying outrageous shit.
That's very true.
Instead of the whole hour where like you say something outrageous and then you talk about why you said that outrageous, why you made the outrageous claim, right?
Facts.
And what happened? Like, if you see, what happened with Trump and the CNN is crazy, because when the CNN. During Trump's presidency, I don't think there was one day the CNN didn't talk about Trump. And listen,
not 1 hour,
as
24/7.
As bad as someone is, if they claim Trump is that bad, as bad as someone is, can you talk about, is someone completely everything bad? Is it possible for someone to be all bad?
If you're just speaking about him all the time.
No, like, just in general. Everyone's a mix of bad and good. Everyone has positive attributes and negative attributes. But have you seen anyone ever in your life that's only all bad? That's all bad, 100% bad, as the media would portray him to be?
Not really.
I don't think people like that exist.
Okay.
Like, maybe they're 99% bad. But
yeah.
over 4 years, how many, let's say, if we took how many positive stories come out about Trump, I don't think there'd be that many.
Not many.
I mean, I wouldn't have many positive stories about him either. I don't know. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, it depends on what he's
There's
doing.
definitely more bad stories and overall...
Way more bad stories. An overwhelming majority of bad stories than...
like sex, like...
so many claims about him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I don't know. I think... and their ratings went up because they always had something to talk about. As soon as Trump left, ratings dipped for the CNN because now they have to hunt for Trump.
Yeah.
You know, they still hunt for stuff like, oh, what's happening at the border? Oh, it's because of Trump's regime, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's like...
What is he doing now? Is he like in hibernation, sitting in his Trump hotel or something?
I think he's starting to campaign. He wants to run for
president again.
2020, is it 2024. But I don't know, because they're both old. They're both really old. Biden and Trump are so old.
Yeah.
So.
But Biden's hella old. Like, he
looks
Biden's like
old 3 years older
like,
than
that
Trump.
guy at least has yellow hair. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yellow thin ass hair.
Bro, his hair is weird as fuck.
Yeah, but Biden, like, I think they're protecting Biden as well.
This water's kind of weird, but I drink it anyways. We need the water.
Alright.
It tastes like metallic. I think it's because of the... Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not the best,
so like I think Biden's being protected sometimes because they cut the conferences short before they ask questions and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know.
And maybe
I don't know much about.
Maybe teenagers and young people don't like that stuff because they want to find out.
The thing is, they don't know that they
don't know this is happening.
They don't know that this stuff is being cut out, whether it's the like positives or the negatives of the person.
Yeah,
like,
they just take it as it is and believe that's who the person is.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So, it doesn't help out when people are being sneaky.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, as I said before, like to you, is that it's all about getting someone addicted. If it's the news, if it's McDonald's, if it's Pornhub, if it's Instagram, the main aim is to get you addicted, to get that, and that is where the big money comes from.
Yep.
If you can make an app, if you can make porn look like a fantasy, if you can like make this food taste crazy amazing, you're winning. And sadly, these people, as I said, they employ these social scientists to see where our psychological weaknesses are, abuse it, create, and you get these products and services which absolutely finesse you. And you don't even know, like most people don't know they're addicted to their phones. They don't check their screen time. They look, it's like 12 hours. Oh my God. But what do they do the next day? They carry on and it just doesn't spark the thing. The same with America. America's obesity rate off the roof.
The UK is the second most.
Bro, like...
So UK has the second highest obesity rate, I think, in the world. But everything in America is so much bigger. I was like looking at comparisons. McDonald's here is so tiny relative to McDonald's in
like
America.
in terms of like seats inside.
No, in terms of like size of
menu.
Products.
Oh yeah. You're right.
They have so many more fries. Their fries are like yellow because they're full of random shit.
Yeah.
Fries in the UK are just fries, salt, and like some like one or two other things, right? But fries in the US, McDonald's fries in the US are full of loads of shit. The EU banned American beef, because they were pumping it. I think Americans were pumping American beef with testosterone to make them like grow bigger and bigger.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And so what happened, they thought, okay, the animal's going to grow bigger and bigger, testosterone's going to like level out again when they're big, and then we're going to cook them the way you'd cook a cow anyways. What ended up happening is women started growing facial hair a lot in America. And so Europeans were like, what is happening? And they found out it was about the testosterone levels in the cows.
No way.
And the chicken and everything. Bro. So they blocked American beef and chicken to the European Union.
That's
and to
crazy.
The UK now. Like, I don't know if the UK is going to change that because now they're out of the EU. I don't know if they're going to change it.
I don't know what's going to go with this country. To this day, I'm just so confused. Like, I don't know, from an economic standpoint, bad decision, right?
I'm not really. I'm not.
I mean, like trade.
I don't know enough.
Yeah, but from what it seems like, trade is just going to be so much harder. Like even with these vaccines, like I remember.
The UK was the country that really pushed the vaccine.
Yeah, that's true.
In all of Europe, the UK was the hardest worker on the vaccine.
Yeah. Because of Oxford.
Yeah, because they have like massive. They have really
big
good
research
facilities.
No, I mean,
like,
best education
I think they
system
blow it out. They blow out most countries by far.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not even close.
Like America, is
America
close
has
by.
a few good unis. Like America's good unis are exceptionally good.
Unis. Yeah.
America's good unis are very, very good, but America's like unis as a whole, all their unis including
in that sense, yes.
aren't that good.
Yes.
UK's unis are consistently good universities.
That's true.
The same with Canada. Canada's universities are at all at decent level.
Okay.
Yeah. So the UK really worked really hard on the vaccine, and I think so. We're talking about how it would affect the economy.
I was saying how these guys. There was a point where within the UK they ran out of vaccines.
Yeah.
So they needed the vaccines from the EU, right, or whatever it is, but they needed to export them from an EU country.
They need to bring it from France. And then France banned it.
Yeah, and then the EU was like, you guys left.
But that's such a bitch move, though.
It is a bitch move.
The UK is producing the vaccine, and you're like to them, nah, fuck you. We're not gonna give you the vaccine. Yeah. Your own vaccine.
But do you know what it is though? From my like experience with like speaking to Polish people.
Yeah.
A lot of Polish people are leaving this country.
UK?
Yeah, like a lot, like
EU.
Like they are leaving the UK to go to Poland.
Okay.
And these like all of my family friends, these men all have built their houses, and all they're doing right now is just trying to get as much money as possible. Okay. And when they go to Poland, they live a high life because pounds are worth like like £1 is worth 5 zloty, and like the Polish like average salary is maybe like £4, £3, like minimum wage. Sorry,
£4 an hour.
£4 an hour, something like that. Something like that. You know,
how's unemployment in Poland?
The unemployment is actually not that bad. Like a lot of people are employed.
That's probably because of the low minimum wage.
Definitely, yeah.
Because if you draw demand and supply curve of the labor market, if you draw a demand and supply curve, the middle of where demand and supply cut is called where the market clears.
Okay.
So that's the optimal area where people will be relatively satisfied with the wage, and the people and the owners will also be relatively satisfied paying the wage.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it turns out some people aren't as satisfied, which is why they raise a minimum wage. So if you draw the minimum wage on the y-axis, it goes up and it cuts the first curve, the cheaper it is, so price is on this axis. So the cheaper it is, the more likely people are to buy it, and supplies like that. It causes a shortage in demand for employees.
Okay.
Because people will be like, employers will be like, why do I need to hire you for a higher price than what you're worth if I can just buy a machine to do your work?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Just write demand supply curve, and so that you can see what I'm talking about.
Demand supply
diagram. The first one. So
it's a linear.
Yeah. Well, it's actually slightly curved, but they draw it as linear. Okay.
Okay. It's like averaged price and quantity.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
So you can see as the price is high, the quantity of people that are gonna buy is low, and as the price is low, the quantity of people that are gonna buy is high.
I see.
So
the situation in Poland is like this. I feel like back in the days, like 1990s, 1990s communism ended.
Okay.
And people just want money, bruv. People in Poland want money, so they rush out of Poland.
People that have been through communism know how rough it is.
Yeah, it is rough, I must say. And the thing is, my parents only kind of skimmed through the end of communism. But like speaking to my granddad, like he was born during the war, so he doesn't really remember much. But he lived through the whole of communism.
Mad.
And like he says that the times that we live in right now they're just so amazing that it's hard to comprehend.
Living through a hardship makes you more grateful for blissful times.
Definitely.
Living through actual hardship.
Yeah, actual hardship.
I think we've been here for 18 years on the planet, and people manufacture hardships to actually have something so that you can be grateful when you come out of that hardship that you've manufactured for yourself.
Yeah.
You know? So you make up a hardship so that you can, like, how do I explain
You're saying
this?
you make yourself like work hard so that you can
not work hard. Like, our parents lived through they've seen some sort of war. The Americans that are our parents' age have been through, they've had like the War of Vietnam or something?
I guess
Vietnam. Some people's grandparents lived through the Second World War.
Yeah.
First, but probably everyone has died out now. Almost everyone's died out from the First World War.
Yeah.
But those people live through real hardships, so end up really, really appreciating times of peace.
Yeah.
Now, we've had no times of hardship so far.
So we consider this actually like, we don't consider
So we
this
consider
peace.
minor hardships as peace.
Yeah.
So
No,
we consider minor hardships as hardships.
Yeah.
Something that's minimal, and we go, oh no, that's so bad, and
Exactly.
we might exaggerate our struggles, maybe because we haven't gone through a real struggle. As a whole, like, obviously people struggle on individual levels.
Yeah.
But I'm
This
talking about
individual.
as a people, we haven't really endured...
Micro and macro struggle.
Yeah, we haven't endured a macro struggle, you know?
Yeah. I feel
A
you.
big macro struggle.
Yeah.
So that's why we get outraged at medium struggles.
I see what you're saying. I would say that I feel like these like very smart people like Bill Gates or Elon, I feel like they know that something's gonna happen. Like if you look at the history of civilization, you can literally average out how often there's a war, like a extreme crisis or a war, so a pandemic or a war which just considerably affects the population.
Yeah, I think.
And this is not. I wouldn't even consider like coronavirus deep. It's not deep at all. It is not deep at all. We are so lucky that
it's not a deadly.
Yes. If this was like Ebola, 50%, mortality rate, it would. Bruv.
But I was speaking to a doctor about this, and he spoke to an epidemiologist, and he was telling me like, the more a virus is deadly, the less contagious it is generally.
Okay.
It's harder to move around.
Okay.
So, and that's why generally when we have a pandemic nowadays, or we have like an outbreak of some virus, and it spreads fast, it's not too dangerous.
Okay.
Like the mortality rates of COVID are very similar to the mortality rates of the flu.
Yeah.
They're very, very similar.
Very similar.
The flu kills a lot of old people.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And so does COVID.
And COVID kills almost exactly the same amount, almost the same proportion, but a larger amount because it's more contagious.
Yeah,
you know?
But
the proportion is the same. Now, and it doesn't really kill young people.
No.
Like if you die of COVID,
you're
either
extremely unlucky,
or you have like really, really, really significant underlying health issues.
Yeah, probably usually have respiratory problems.
What is it? You're more likely to die from falling from the stairs, like falling off the stairs.
Yeah.
It's a tiny like, but at least we've had like a, you know, when you have a fire alarm that rings but there's no fire. At least we've had that.
It's like
for a dangerous disease, for a more dangerous disease.
That's very true.
Because if a disease is 10% more dangerous than COVID, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
You know?
I agree with you. This is basically a fire drill. And I really hope that we
learn how to sort it out properly.
Especially these leaders, because like there's like scientists can't do anything without this politics. Sadly, like they need funding. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To do this research, and if like the government doesn't react quickly enough, then it will be game over next time, because nature ain't gonna give you second chances, third chances all the time. Do you see what I'm saying? It will do its fucking job if it needs to. And the biggest problem is that I remember Bill Gates was on the TED Talk a few years ago. This was like I think 2000.
He was talking about pandemics.
He was, and his main point was that we shouldn't be so scared about a war.
We should be more scared.
It's not like you shouldn't be scared of war, but it's very illogical how we are spending our money. We are spending 95% of like this money on nuclear bombs and all this military equipment. Even
95% of what?
Of I'm not exactly sure of what money, but like most of the money for like sustaining or letting the country survive is being put into.
Also, maybe defense.
Probably defense. Into the defense is put into like the military, even though that the chances of a pandemic are more than a war.
Okay.
And that it doesn't make sense. But the thing is, it doesn't make sense. But I don't know what it is. But like if like all these research universities had even half the budget of the US the UK Navy or the military, bruv, this virus, nothing.
But this virus is, I think, the reason lockdowns were implemented in the first place because we didn't know what this virus was. We didn't know how dangerous it was going to be. We didn't have enough data.
No, that was good in a sense. Initially, what they did,
and that's why they locked down and they closed down everything.
Yeah.
But imagine, as a whole, if you lock down a whole people for this long, people have been in and out of lockdown since March 2020. That's a year and a month. People have been in and out of lockdowns. How would that I'm pretty sure suicide statistics have gone so far up that it's probably a net negative to have a lockdown than to not have a lockdown.
I agree.
You understand?
It's of showing all the real problems on the world.
Yes.
This is not the real pandemic. The pandemic is the mental health. I would say that's the real pandemic. Possible.
We're the loneliest generation, yet we have the most access to people.
That's because of abundance.
Yes.
There's too much choice nowadays.
It could be hyper-abundance, which is a word I just came across recently.
It's choice. It's too much choice. And it's it's when you go
no, it's also like this. We lack the safety of our homes, in a sense. Like, if you're a child and you get bullied in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
If in the 1980s, if you're a child and you get bullied in school, and you come home, you come back to the peace of your parents and your siblings, if you have siblings, right?
Okay.
And so you have a life that sometimes you get bullied, sometimes you don't. It can lead you to have some mental health problems, but in general, your parents and your family life helps reduce the likelihood of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if now you live in our generation, where if someone gets bullied in school, you come home and you're bullied on social media.
Because
that means there's no escape. Whatever
true.
you do, there's no escape from being bullied if you get bullied, right? Because you're being bullied both in school and at home.
And usually on social media it's twice as well.
Social media bullying is way more brutal than in-person bullying, except if you're getting hit in person.
But that's the thing though, because apparently physical pain is not as painful
as mental
pain.
Probably.
So
what I mean is literally coming home with bruises and shit.
Yeah, I get what you're saying though. I get what you're saying.
But yes, probably psychological bullying is probably more devastating than physical bullying.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially, it can go on all the time. If someone gets bullied on social media, they can get bullied every single day, at any time of the day, when they wake up and when they go to sleep.
Definitely.
But you understand? Before they had they had a place where they could go and
pause
and contemplate and enjoy time with their family.
I get you.
And have a mixture of good and bad, but then if you're getting bullied all the time, there's bad and bad everywhere you are, all the time. Even if you move schools, you could move schools and your old bullies are still bullying you on social media. I feel like
it's just being extremely disciplined in that sense, that when you know you're being bullied. The problem is that people bullies choose people who they know are weak.
In the sense that they can dominate them.
Yeah. On a mental scale.
But generally, bullies also come from broken homes.
A lot of trauma. I agree with you. Yeah.
I can't really sympathize that much with bullies because it's hard because it would be easier to sympathize with a young bully than an older one, because an older one has had opportunity to think about stuff, even if you'd think they'd have had opportunity to think about stuff.
Yeah.
With time, obviously. But some of them don't, and
I'm lucky enough I've never been bullied.
I haven't been bullied either,
but I know people personally who've been badly bullied, and speaking to them now, also 18.
You can see some remnants of bullying in them. You can still tell sometimes they didn't get bullied because there's some small things they do.
100%.
Sometimes they'll seek a bit more reassurance than your average person would.
Yeah.
But it's sad, but that's what happens, I guess.
It's very true. But I feel like with every kind of struggle you go through, especially like through school, it does carve you a bit. Like if you're able, it's like people who like get out of bullying and they become successful, like it's twice as kind of rewarding.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Because of how much hardship,
mental
hardship they had to endure.
For me, I remember in secondary school I had peak acne. It was bad. It was so bad, and I had a lot of things to kind of like take my mind off that insecurity. I played football. I had a girlfriend at the time, like, as well, and overall, like, it was okay. But I was thinking, like, to myself, fuck. Like, I went on my phone one day to try and find a picture of me when I was 14, 15. Impossible.
Because you didn't take any.
I never took a picture, and I was just like, it was just incredible how literally a portion of my life cannot be found because I just never documented because I was so insecure. And the thing is, I didn't even know I was so insecure until now.
You're unconsciously insecure.
Exactly. And the same thing is with probably with someone who gets bullied, that they don't even probably know that they're getting bullied. They're just like, they kind of blame it maybe on themselves, like, this guy's bullying me because I actually do, like, they do believe the things that guy says.
Yeah.
And it like, and then problem with the brain is that it creates scenarios, exactly, and those scenarios are not real, but like in your weak state of mind they are, and there's only one scenario like which is actually real, and that there's a guy who's bullying you, and you're already thinking about like opinions of other people, what other people think about you, or how you got beat up, and whatever it is. But it's tough. It's really bad. Like that causes a lot of scarring, and I would say it's even like the worst, the most traumatic things are in childhood.
Yeah, when you're young.
Childhood is the worst, and it has such a big impact because your conscious level is so low.
And that's when you're getting molded.
Exactly.
Like, if by the time there's this thing, if by the time you're 4 years old, you're antisocial, if you're antisocial by the age of 4, you're going to be antisocial your entire life.
Unless, that's the thing, unless, like, is it facts?
It's extremely hard to change. Like, you can learn how to be, you can learn how to bear conversation. You can learn how to endure a conversation without getting physically as tired as you would otherwise.
Okay.
But if you're antisocial, it's hard to have conversations. It's hard to be around loads of people and not physically be drained. Like, physically get tired, like, from playing a sport. The same way.
Yeah.
So, if by the time you're 4, you haven't been socialized properly, then it's hard to learn how to socialize afterwards. It's important to, like, get your kids exposure, get them to play around with other children as well, and let them grow a bit. And I think siblings would help that.
100%.
Siblings would help socialization.
100%. Or just learning how to interact with other children.
You have to let them play with other children.
Yeah,
you have to find children that are willing to play with your own child as well. But generally, children are willing to play with everyone when they're little.
Yeah. Up until a point, I think it's like
apparently
4.
the most aggressive people are 2-year-olds.
I think so.
Out of anyone.
I have a 2.5-year-old brother.
Yeah, well, you're lucky he's not aggressive.
He is. I would say he's not that he's. Thing is, he's basically a single child in a sense.
Okay.
Because the gap between me and my younger brother is 14, so the gap between them two is 12 years old, which is huge.
Yeah.
So.
No, I understand that.
He's not that he's aggressive. He's extremely selfish. So he is that type of he has like I can see in his like he's building his own ego.
Yeah.
He like some of his first words are things like mine.
Yeah. Yeah, but
mine,
children,
and I'm thinking, and it's just like, I just like even these words in itself just build like this like bad form of thinking that it's yours. This is inherently yours. It's not the others, and you're not allowed to touch it because it's mine. And they also like start creating this extreme like attachment. So they start crying with everything. Do you see what I'm saying? You take their toy, they're fucking crying. And obviously you can't teach a child that, but what you can teach them is like a language. You do have an influence of what they do learn. And I feel like things like I and mine, their words are self-centered around themselves.
Yeah, so they're self-centered, as you said. Well, luckily they say like a child is narcissistic. Every child is self-centered and narcissistic till the age of 4.
Yeah.
By the age of 4, they start to learn to share and socialize properly.
Yeah.
Like they start to negotiate without words and set rules to play games.
Yeah.
As a child, when you're playing with someone else's toy, you're not going to hold that toy of the other baby. If the baby that the toy's for touches the toy and wants to take it back, you give it back. If not, you start a fight. You've broken a rule, an unspoken rule. And you learn how to play like that, and you learn how to socialize, and you keep growing, and the socialization becomes more and more sophisticated with time. You know?
Do you know, I've also, I've read somewhere.
Yeah.
It's that, you see all these features, all these disabilities or, psychological disorders, narcissism, depression, schizophrenia, ADHD, OCD. Yeah. Apparently, we all have a bit of this. The only difference between those actual people who are diagnosed is that they actively show it. They actively show it, they don't have the filter. Yeah.
It's not only the filter, it's you can socialize something out of someone. Effectively, you're socializing narcissism out of children. And some of children, you socialize it better, you socialize it out better. Some others, you don't. And they tend to be more narcissistic as they grow. Because it's never really taken off them. Put on a leash by the child themselves. Yeah. With the help of the parents and people around them. Yeah. And it's not properly put on leash. It goes out, it pees on the floor. It's it's there. Just what I wanted to say, if by the age of 4 if after the age of 4 you're narcissistic, you're still narcissistic, that means you're actually narcissistic.
Oh yeah.
You have narcissism. You don't have NPD. NPD is narcissistic personality disorder, and it's extremely rare. NPD is so rare. Yeah. But people with NPD can't do anything about their narcissism, or they struggle big time because
there's always something you can do. I believe.
No, it's like psychopathy. The only thing you can do about psychopathy is just try your best to not be a criminal in that sense.
It's look.
Well, not all psychopaths are criminals, and in fact, it's a tiny minority of psychopaths that are criminal. But it's an overwhelming majority of criminals, like severe criminals, like murderers and serial killers, that are psychopaths.
Bonnie and
if
Clyde.
You see what I mean. I don't know about Bonnie and Clyde.
I'm pretty sure they were they had some mental illness or something.
Yeah, because psychopathy removes your remorse, so you can end up doing things that.
They were serial killers, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah. There were an American criminal couple who traveled the central United States with their gang during the Great Depression. Okay. Known for their bank robberies. They were bad. These were bad man. These people did sexual assaults. Bruh. Murders, bruv. These were the gang of all gangs, fam. And yeah, I don't know if I feel like there was definitely something wrong with them. There had to be. Yeah. Man.
But what I was talking about with psychopathies, basically every single psychopath will try to manipulate you.
Okay.
In that sense, it's almost inherent with psychopathy that you will be manipulated by a psychopath, and that's how you can spot one. But they're usually very good at hiding it. They learn to become good because they have to keep their cover. Because if you find out someone's a psychopath, you're not going to talk to them.
That's very true.
And the best thing to actually do is not talk to them, except if you you stay extremely careful and you're constantly checking whether you're being manipulated at every single time you have a conversation with them.
Do you know what though? This is, you know, remember when I said that a small portion of us have a bit of like all these mental disorders, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, every time like I know this myself, is like, let's say you're in a relationship with a girl, and the girl says, oh, you did something wrong, and then you're like, yeah, I'm sorry, I won't ever do this again. And then and you do this and do this and do this again.
Yeah.
And this is considered a form of emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
And like,
but it's,
do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's not every single conversation you have with them.
Yeah, in that sense, yes. But
yeah, but I understand you're saying
do you
that
see
it's
what
a
I'm
part
saying?
of.
It is like you're getting the person sent shops basically.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you are manipulative, doesn't mean you're a psychopath.
Yeah.
But if you are a psychopath, it's very likely that you are manipulative as well.
Yeah. It's just it's a characteristic.
Yes.
And I'm saying that like we have a lot of characteristics.
But properly socialized psychopaths, like psychopaths that come from a good family, usually don't end up as serial killers or murderers, but they do still manipulate people, including their parents. You know, because they don't have the instinct to. Well, obviously they can't empathize with someone and sympathize with you, so they don't really have the ability to do that, to understand that someone's helping you out of their own volition. They're being nice to you because they want to help you out. They don't see that. They see that as, maybe this person is helping me out because they're stupid and I manipulated them into helping me out. And they'll keep doing it that way. You know?
I see
so
what
that's
you're
why
saying.
they manipulate.
I see.
And it's unfortunate, but I hope they can find something to sort out psychopathy and antisocial personality disorder, which is extremely severe.
Isn't that basically like social anxiety?
No.
Is it much worse?
It's much worse than social anxiety. Antisocial personality disorder will manifest itself similarly to psychopathy. Like, wait, can you search it? APD, antisocial personality disorder.
I would say, I think,
because it's not being antisocial. It's not the same thing. People use, I don't think, APD disorder. No, not that one. It came up with auditory processing.
Wait, so what's
antisocial?
Antisocial
personality
disorder.
You see? Oh, everything comes up with psychopathy.
Psychopathy.
Because
signs exploit, manipulate or violate the right of others.
So what do? They exploit, they manipulate and violate the right of others. They have a lack of concern, regret or remorse about other people's distress, behave irresponsibly, show disregard for normal social behavior, have difficulty sustaining long-term relationships.
They're just reckless.
Yeah, it's recklessness. And do you see how there's loads of stuff that also, like if you drew a Venn diagram with psychopathy, loads of stuff goes in the middle, like the exploitative nature, the lack of guilt, and the inability to learn from their mistakes, and the fact that they repeatedly break their law.
I feel you. It sounds
It sounds like psychopathy, doesn't it?
It does.
It doesn't sound like what it says it is.
Interesting. That's very interesting. I say it's interesting because a lot of these things, for example, like unable to control their anger, specifically.
Yeah, but that's an emotion, right?
Exactly, that's an emotion. But like, look,
I don't know if psychopaths don't feel. I don't know if it's emotion they don't feel, or if it's guilt and remorse that they don't feel.
Emotion is an interesting thing. Emotion is
I'm not sure.
Is the result of thoughts. That's the thing. And as soon as you are not able to control your emotion, it's because you can't control your thoughts. And I think it has to be something to do with your thought processing, because your like emotion and thought, they coexist with one another. They like, you only feel an emotion if you think like, and you like I don't know if you had like
You
times when you just think of a scenario and because of that you get like an increase in your heart rate and you're like fuck and you get stressed out.
Yeah.
That is only because like chronologically first the thought arose.
Okay.
So
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I think that is what these antisocial personality disorder people have a problem with. I think it's thought processing.
No, but if you can look at brain scans of antisocial personality people with with psychopathy. I know you can look at their brain scans and you can tell the difference between the brain scan of someone with the MRI. No, the PET scan. There was this professor, and I think he was a neuroscientist. Yeah, his name is something Fallon. Let me just Fallon, psychopath. James H. Fallon. He's an American neuroscientist, and he spent all his life coming up with. He was a scientist. He was just doing science all his life. Then one day, his university brought in a load of psychopath killers, PET scans, and PET stands for positron emission tomography.
Yeah.
So the PET scans of a psychopath would be completely different to the PET scan of a normal person.
So is it the physical brain or the brain functionality?
What's happening in the brain?
What's happening in the brain?
Yes. So it would see what lights up when they think of something, right?
Oh, okay.
So
what places of the brain are activated?
Yeah. So so he was like, you know what would be interesting if we do it to our students too and our staff to compare it to the psychopaths' brains, okay? So he ran them and he said, let's put them in separate piles and try and analyze what's happening. So he put the ones of normal people in a pile and the ones of psychopaths in a pile. He got his done, he got his friends done, he got everyone's done, right? So when he did that, after doing that, he was like looking for his own brain scan in the normal people's pile. And so his friend came and told him, it's not there. It's with the psychopaths. That's your brain scan, the first one. Turns out he was a psychopath, a well-socialized psychopath. And after realizing that, he went out asking the people that knew him, his wife, whether he demonstrated psychopathic traits. And she said, yeah. Like, she said, it hurts, but she's learned to live with it. Like, she said that he said it himself. He said he likes his family the same way he likes his neighbors. It's the same. It's the same for him, completely.
Crazy.
Like, people are the same.
So
he doesn't feel emotion towards them. Doesn't feel happy. He can feel satisfied.
So there's no order to his emotion, I guess. It's just like a 0 or 1.
There is no like significant emotion there to begin with.
Yeah. But it's like, I like him. I like this person or I don't.
He's like, this person's interesting. My wife's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Like
very.
And he manifested the traits of real psychopathy really strongly, except the fact that he wasn't violent or didn't break the law. So that was good. He was well socialized. During childhood, which helped a lot because you wouldn't want to have another smart psychopath out there. Yeah, it's not a good thing to have.
No.
Like,
smart psychopath.
You know, it's a common misconception that people think psychopaths are smarter than other people. They aren't. They have a similar average IQ. Sometimes slightly lower. It's just they don't have remorse. Because when we think, we factor in our emotions into whether we're going to do something or not. Okay. And they don't, so it's just a faster thought process. So that's why they come across as smarter. Just have less stuff to think about.
Yeah, like it's emotion. Like, it's more of like an A to B.
Yeah, it's a straight line from A to B.
Straight line for them.
There's no regard to anyone else's feelings.
I get you.
Or well-being.
No emotional barriers.
Yeah.
I get you completely.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Antisocial personality disorder. But you know what? Like, is this, I was just looking at like science, for example. Some of these things are so like similar to such a like as I was saying, like an overdiagnosed like disability, like ADHD. Look, like there are so many things here that I can like say without a doubt are also traits of like ADHD. For example, like having difficulty staying long-term relationships.
Oh yeah, but
unable to control their anger, like guilt, empathy, and all of that stuff. Repeatedly break the law. Like these, it's just. I think it's like fascinating how. All these things so intertwine so well, like, and the same thing with like dyslexia and ADHD. They also go together. OCD and ADHD.
Yeah,
it's all like compounded.
I think if you type something like, because they put these disorders in clusters.
Yeah.
So they're similar, but they don't have the exact same
traits
characteristics.
Yeah.
So if you write cluster A personality disorders or cluster B personality disorders, whichever one you want.
Clusters of
personality disorder. There you go.
These are more like personality. Well,
okay,
you got cluster A, B, C.
You see?
Yeah.
So all the similar ones are together.
Antisocial personality, borderline personality, historic personality, narcissistic. And then you got the anxious, fearful cluster, avoidant personality, dependent. Oh, this is what I was talking about. With like attachment styles.
Okay.
There's 4 main attachment styles. So there's people who avoid, there's people who depend, there's people who obsess, and then the third one is the stable one.
The fourth one?
The fourth one is just being like there is no problem basically with you. But most people come under like these 3 people are either they're scared of commitment, or certain people are like highly like dependent on the other person. Are very insecure, always need the do you love me, I always need this attention type of thing. And then there's people who basically like obsess and they flip between the two.
Okay.
And then there's like the stable person who's normal. But yeah, these like attachment styles also root basically from.
Which book were you saying you said?
It's called attached attachment. I think it's called attached. Hold on, I think I haven't read it, but I've done like.
Who's it from?
Attached book. There we go. Attached. The new science of adult attachment and how it can help you find and keep love.
Who wrote it? Amir Levine.
Yeah, it's
and Rachel S.F.
Yeah, it's a
Heller?
fantastic book. I'm going to read it one day.
Yeah,
I am definitely going to read it, but I don't have this extreme urge
to read it
because I understand a lot of these concepts already. And there we go: anxious, avoidant, secure, and there's also like a fourth one. But those are like the 3 main ones, and yeah, this is like universal. Like, and it's this book kind of specifies more about love, like romantic love.
Okay.
But this is with everything, like all attachment, even to your phone.
Yeah.
Right. You can either like most people have like a very secure relationship with their phone. Like the phone doesn't do anything to you. You're very happy with it. But if you lose your phone, you'll be extremely devastated and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's more applies to humans though. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But I think something I found interesting was there was a psychologist, evolutionary psychologist that was talking about. So they were asking him whether psychology is a science, a social science, and he was like,
if what is a social
psychology? No, if psychology is a science.
Oh, like a STEM science.
Like a science, and he's an evolutionary psychologist, right?
Oh,
and he did mathematics as his bachelor's before doing that. So his name is Gad Saad. I think what he said basically was, if done, the reason psychology is called a social science rather than a science is because they don't have a way of conducting it the way natural sciences are conducted with the scientific method to the letter.
Science is experimentation in essence.
But then the basis of like the natural sciences, is because there's a scientific method that you have to adhere to.
Yeah.
If you reach an answer using the scientific method, someone else can test it out, come out with the same answer. Your theory is a valid theory, right? In psychology and sociology and some of the social sciences, what happens is they've made something that looks like the natural, like the scientific method, but isn't. Sometimes that's how some people come to like ridiculous hypotheses in psychology. Sometimes it's because they basically, it's like, it looks like a duck, it feels like a duck, but it isn't a duck. In the same way as, so it looks like the scientific method, it feels like the scientific method, but it doesn't follow the basic principles of the scientific method. That's for some psychology. Which then means like...
But that's the thing, I think it depends from field to field.
It depends from field to field. But that's why the natural sciences are so good, because we've been able to nail a method that's been used for a long time. It's a reliable method.
Everything is sequential. You can put like anything into basically an algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Like if you think about all this maths, physics, computer science, like all of it is like chemistry as well. It's all computationally done, like these big calculations. Like as soon as like you put like certain things in psychology, sociology, or politics, even is called the social science.
I don't know about
like,
that.
But like these subjects, certain things are very hard to put into algorithms, sequential things that like have a logic to it. Basically, that's the problem. That's the whole point of like. So I think natural sciences is that they just naturally stem from maths, which is the language of it, and it like when it has a like a logical form to it, everything just makes perfect sense. That's why everything just kind of falls instantly when so when something is discovered in physics and it is like experimentally proven, it just falls into place.
Irrefutable.
It's like if you were playing Tetris and all these blocks all fell in at once, perfectly matched.
But so what this guy was saying was, if you want to conduct a social science properly, you have to find an intellectually honest way of replicating the scientific method and mapping it onto the social science. Then it becomes very close to real to like what you would call real science, right? So what he said was, because of the fact like, no, that's something else. I was gonna talk about stuff like evolution.
I was to add to you, I would think that the problem is that we are trying, I feel like psychology is trying to add to biology, for example, where it is deemed like its own subject, right? But like I know for a fact, like I have an impression at least, like from listening to like biologists, and they basically say that like biology is in danger. Like they are basically
biology is in danger by gender-based social science.
And it's basically being at this point like overwhelmed by all this philosophy, because philosophy is a very new subject compared to biology, very recent.
Philosophy is new.
Psychology. Psychology is a very recent like subject compared to biology, and like biology has a lot more stronger fundamentals, right, which have been in place for a lot longer.
And the threshold to come across a biological theory, the threshold of evidence you need is so high that by far the most irrefutable theory in the entirety of science is basically the theory of evolution. I don't think there's a theory that's had so much scrutiny the way evolution by natural selection and eventually sexual selection. But there's so many people that tried to shut evolution down, and as a result of that, the evidence that builds evolution had to grow and grow to such a point that if you try to shut evolution down, you basically cannot.
Yeah.
Which shows that it is the most effective
evidence.
The most effective theory out of any of the natural sciences, other than maybe theories in physics you don't need the same type of evidence as you would need in biology.
No, the thing is, in physics, you don't even need proof that something exists. There's a lot of equations out there for these black holes and like a lot of this shit that like we've never actually conducted an experiment, but theoretically it exists. Theoretically, teleportation exists.
Are you talking about wormholes? You're talking about wormholes, not black holes, right? Because we can take pictures of.
But like wormholes especially.
Yeah. Like we can theorize wormholes, but we don't know if
exactly. With biology,
we basically know that evolution is true.
Exactly.
But you know what's interesting? Evolution occurred in two ways: natural and sexual selection, which is what differentiates it.
Isn't sexual like natural? Like isn't
it's different because like if you look at which monkeys were close to us? Was it chimpanzees?
Chimpanzees.
Yeah. Okay. So a female chimpanzee. So this is what sexual selection was. This is how Darwin
figured it
Darwin
out.
came across sexual selection, but everyone said no to him. But then it proved that it's actually more useful than not.
Okay.
So basically, it says like stuff like a female chimpanzee will basically mate with a male chimpanzee if the male chimpanzee wants to mate.
If he wants to. Okay.
So, if a male chimpanzee beats another male chimpanzee and comes to mate with a female, they'll just mate.
Yeah.
But the reason our species the way we are is because when a male, what would be the ancestor of a human, would want to mate, he can't just beat the other male and mate. He has to beat the other male, and the woman has to choose that she wants to mate with him.
Oh, okay.
That was the difference between us and chimpanzees.
Okay.
Like when we broke away from our common ancestor.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, our genetic pool kept becoming fitter and fitter, because at one point the males would start promoting the fittest male because it would be more useful to them if the fittest male mates for the survival of their tribe.
Okay.
And so as a result of that, we kept becoming fitter and fitter genetically. We kept becoming smarter and smarter, and we are where we are now. And it still happens. Like, the reason people are attracted to competence, people are attracted to successful people, is because you assume that this successful person has traits that will be conducive to a stronger genetic pool, which will lead to survival of the human race, for example. You know? Because someone that's successful, like, usually has traits like intelligence and, generally it's intelligence now. It used to be strength before, like, loads of time ago.
Yeah, it was primarily strength.
Before we split from our common ancestor, even just after we split, probably it was like strength and dominance, but now it's intelligence is our new strength.
Yeah.
Because this is the way we survive.
Yeah.
Intelligence leads us to make devices. Intelligence allows us to have engineers and scientists and literally education as a whole.
So 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens evolved in East Africa, right?
Okay.
And only 70,000 years ago, the cognitive revolution began. So that was us thinking, basically valuing intelligence and like it giving birth and actually us thinking. So yeah, that's some stats to add to that. Very interesting how basically us humans, Homo sapiens, not monkeys, the same people that we were genetically structured, were just another animal in the food chain.
Yeah.
Bang in the middle.
Until we didn't. Until we stopped.
Until we started. Until the cognitive revolution occurred, and there's many theories why. There's the there's the DMT. There's the DMT theory that they started, like they got their hands on like psychedelic drugs, and there's many others which I cannot fully say.
And the reason we're intelligent is so beyond me. I don't know. Like, I would have to read about it a lot before finding out why we are how we are.
That is the perfect book.
Sapiens.
Yeah.
But I mean, also like.
It explains it from not just from a biological standpoint. It explains a lot of like even like politics, for example. Like think about it. Monkeys have a hierarchical system. Like there is always like in gorillas there is the chief gorilla, and his main purpose is that in the, I think it's a herd, I'm not sure the word for it, in the tribe of monkeys, never exceeds 150, usually around the 50s, 40s.
Yeah, we have that number too for humans.
Yeah.
Dunbar. We were looking at this yesterday.
Exactly.
Dunbar's number, like you can only keep 150 people in your head at once, like properly.
So monkeys,
150 people or something like that.
Exactly. So like, in a sense, monkeys in a way had like a political structure in place, but this was like. This was unconditional, right? It was like
the strongest monkey,
and his purpose was primarily to protect, and to reproduce, and I find it fascinating how we were able to like to leave that type of mentality, and the answer to that is cognition. We start thinking, and we find ways to actually work with other people in the same species in more than just 40 people.
It's because of reciprocity of humankind. The fact that we're willing to trade, in a sense, something for something else.
Yes, trade is a very
sacrifice and have delayed reward.
Yeah.
Humans are willing to have delayed reward beyond death. No, like, animals don't do that.
That's very true.
Squirrels can sometimes have delayed what did I say?
Delayed rewards.
Yeah, squirrels can have delayed rewards, but not till after they die, because they don't know that they're gonna die.
Yeah. They would like
squirrels don't know they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Ever. Every day is like
It's just the way.
It's a reboot.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just gonna get some food.
Yeah, it's food and sleep, and maybe I'll hide this acorn.
Yeah, I think bears are like as good as it gets. They hibernate.
Yeah, because they hibernate and then they eat later.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, we know, as humans, we have an expiry date. We know we're gonna die, which is why maybe...
The only certainty.
Which is why we probably have all this stuff. Like, which is why we really, religion is so prevalent to this day, and it's going to keep being prevalent as long as we're gonna keep dying. You know?
Neuralink. Solution.
Maybe Neuralink would be a cool transition into finding out what's up. Like,
if Neuralink pops off, it'll be extremely interesting.
It'll be interesting. It'll be so interesting to see what happens to stuff like consciousness.
Yeah.
See whether that.
Do you know? Go on.
Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say that there are like cryogenic chambers
where you can freeze your frozen
body, which are basically waiting for the day that Neuralink wakens, and some people don't even cryogenically freeze their whole body. They just chop their head off and they freeze their head, and that's enough.
Is this a thing?
Yeah. This is like people have died, and they are just waiting for this basically technology to arise, and I'm thinking, fuck, like I
think I'd do that.
I
can see myself doing that.
Like, if we don't make it, fuck, maybe we'll make it in 200 years time when Elon Musk's son,
so like close. It's so close.
Shit, though.
It feels so close to happening.
It is very close. I mean,
a lot of people will think about death differently in our generation.
Yeah.
You know? So
if we can actually figure out how to continue living after, like, even fuck the living, but like keep consciousness.
That'd be cool.
After death, that would be against biology and reality in a sense, and all these other religions. So I feel like it would be a dangerous shift.
I don't think it would be against biology, because that would be the ultimate. The ultimate survival move would be able to survive beyond your biological body.
It kind of cuts the chain. Do
Yeah,
you see
you're
what
not
I'm
a
saying?
biological being anymore.
You're not a biological being anymore. You're not decomposing. You're not basically adding to the nutrients of the soil anymore. You are like technically staying for forever.
Being. Yeah.
Ooh.
Imagine becoming a technological being instead of biological being.
Oh, I don't know. That's
I don't
crazy.
know. I don't know if that's cool or not, but I'm definitely on board. I'm definitely.
For
on
me,
board.
I'm a bit skeptical. I can't lie, because I feel like what gives our life so much value
is that
it's
death.
Finite. It's death, and what like I wouldn't call I would like as soon as we figure out how to basically
live
forever. Keep our consciousness to live forever. We're not humans anymore.
Yeah, I know.
This is a completely different.
I assume we won't be humans anymore, but I don't know. I think I might be willing to take that risk.
Really, I would not.
I don't know, because
I would not.
You know, like both ways are scary.
Both ways are
Death
scary.
is scary, but also like
Staying forever
living like
scary,
this, living like a robot forever is also
having
scary,
chip.
right? Isn't it?
They are both scary. I feel like a reason why I fear it is because it goes against the norm in a sense, right? It's not normal to not die. I guess so. That's what's so skeptical around it.
But a lot of things that humans have done is
not normal.
Is that way? Yeah.
Yeah, it is honestly.
But almost everything we've done is to follow, like, is to survive in a. You can relate it back to our survival instinct. You know, so and this is the ultimate survival instinct, because this is the ticket to surviving forever.
It's cheat code GTA.
Yeah.
It literally is. Nah, I feel like if this does become a reality in our lifetime, it will be dangerous only because there will be
people that get it first.
Yeah, there will be a proportion of people who are like hyper aware, like overclocked brains, 1 gigahertz processing speed, being able to read.
What was it? I think it was something like that. Like people with Neuralink will be able to process stuff at such a tremendous speed and so much information that it would just blow the normal human out of the water.
Let me search this up. Neuralink.
And we don't even know how intelligent we can get with Neuralink. Like
an integrated brain-machine interface platform. Blah 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 blah.
Are you finding anything about it?
Brain hacking is exceptionally hard, no matter what Elon Musk says.
Oh, this is Neuralink themselves.
This is some article. Unique brains. Neuroscientists have in fact been listening to brain cells in awake animals since the 1950s. Some researchers hope that AI can sidestep these problems in the same way it has helped computers to understand speech. I'd have to thoroughly read this.
I think
this is a difficult article to scavenge through quickly. But I would say, I've got a good theory.
What is it?
I feel like when Elon does go to Mars, which will happen in our lifetime 100%.
I hope it does.
In our lifetime 100%, he'll get to Mars, and he does start to basically evolve like humanity on Mars.
Okay.
He should that's where Neuralink should pop off. It's like
that would be so good.
Because
we'd be on a new planet, we can have a new beginning.
Yeah. It's like you're going to Mars, but you have to when you jump on that plane, you have that chip already installed. And
in case anything happens.
Yeah, and do you know what would be even cooler? It's those people who are which have disabilities, they don't have legs or arms. You can just add a prosthetic arm, add a chip into him, bruv, take him to Mars, and he's living the life because.
Yeah, but that was the first thing Musk wanted to tackle with Neuralink.
Yeah,
he said he doesn't. At the start, he's not gonna start by overclocking brains. He's gonna start by trying to fix people with with
spinal problems,
stuff like spinal problems.
Yeah, because
stuff like brain structural problems,
central nervous system,
that type of stuff.
That's very good.
Yeah, I like the initiative.
Yeah.
I like how much of an engineer he is, in that sense, as a CEO.
Yeah. He's not a typical businessman.
He's not your normal CEO. Obviously, he probably is a good CEO as well, but in terms of being an engineer, he comes up with really cool ideas.
Yeah, like core values of his are, I am a scientist and I am.
It seems like he is really a scientist.
Like money is like second or third. I don't know.
Money is the byproduct of a successful product.
Exactly.
Money comes about because his ideas are cool.
Exactly.
And his marketing is basically himself.
Yeah.
His marketing is just how peculiar his personality is.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Yeah, and that drives the market to like him.
I feel like if businesses change their business models to thinking more like scientists, in the sense that I'm going to make this product not to make money, but to make the world better, I feel like everything would just be much better. Like a lot of business people, like companies, are sadly their first priority is money. Like look at football, for example.
What happened? I don't know, because like obviously so many companies' priorities are going to be money, but also like for example a retailer or someone like a shopping mall, their priority is obviously money, but they're going to get you good products because they know you're more inclined to buying a good product if you're well informed.
That's true.
And the more advanced the country is, the more well informed you're going to be. So the smart move in terms of money making is to give you a better product in that sense. But I think because first of all, not many people are working as hard as Elon Musk. No. Period. On the planet.
Not many.
Yeah. And not many people also have the opportunities that Elon Musk had and seized.
Yeah.
Like
he did read a lot of books, I remember.
He read a lot of books. He learned 13. How to code really early.
Yeah. Like to this day, I'm not really, like I do electrical engineering.
And
barely could code. Like Python, I can code some stuff, but like more specific, like MATLAB or something.
He sold.
This guy made PayPal, bro. Man, PayPal.
By the age of 23, he had like $88 million.
Yeah, so you need to give this guy a credit. Like I don't know. I don't understand why people like hate so much on like in general and like these extremely successful people like these billionaires, millionaires. Like yes, they do have a lot of money and like. But black and white seems so selfish and so unfair that they do have this money, but like most like there are a lucky few that did put like $100 into Bitcoin in 2002 and now they're like extremely rich for no like impulsively.
Okay.
But like overall,
most people that are that rich deserve to be that rich.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Like like maybe the magnitude of their money is like a bit over the top. However,
but they don't hold that money.
Yeah, they don't actually have it. This is what I'm saying. It's their net worth. Their net worth is how much this company is worth. Like
how much
value basically it has. Like Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, Neuralink have actual real life value on this world, not just monetary value,
they
but
create valuable products.
Exactly, like this is changing the world, and in a good way, in a very good way. This is like the good being extremely important. Like now, like Apple, I remember like Steve Jobs days. I remember when he released the iPhone 4, like I think that was the closest thing to like a reveal of technology than that, like to what like Elon Musk is doing now with his like when the Cybertruck came out. But like the last time I remember there was ever so much hype was back with Steve Jobs and the iPhone, and
I remember that
people saw this thing as an inherently good thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Not initially, like after a few years they started this is actually
look at all of us. Everyone all have iPhones and
everyone has a phone that looks like an iPhone, or everyone has a phone that's a smartphone, basically.
But he started something incredible, and overall, it is an extreme. It made the world a better place. Like,
yeah, I mean, it made the world a more more advanced place. Let's say. I'm gonna say advanced because better can be subjective.
It is subjective, but the problem is that that innovation in itself, the iPhone, just put it there, is a piece of technology that is, I would say, there is no bad to it. The only reason it's bad is because Instagram was created, and Instagram in itself isn't a bad thing either. The idea was also good, but us humans just I don't know, we just don't know how to fucking use good things. We have to just ruin everything like fucking idiots. But
yeah, I think
the problem, there's a lot of bad stuff about the internet, about phones, but
there's also
people that is only stuff. Because of us, like the users.
But also the good stuff is also thanks to us. Like both ways go as a byproduct of us using the device. Like both the positives and the negatives. That's why I say it's both a good and a bad thing. It's hard. But it's definitely an advancement. That's for sure. That's a thing that you can take.
And wouldn't you say advancement in and of itself is a good thing?
Yeah, sure. I could say that.
Yeah.
But the reason I say advancement is because maybe when you say something like this is good, some go, well, there's also stuff that makes it bad. Like people get addicted, blah blah. I know it's because people just misuse it, but it also, the intention of, obviously they must have thought that they need to get people hooked on the iPhone, even for the first one, so they can buy the second one. So it must have been a thought, even if they were pushing out more good than bad, there still must have been some bad to result in the purchase of the next one and the next one, and being attached to it so much that people would be willing to pay loads of money for their iPhones.
That's very true. An iPhone costs £1,000 or £900.
Yes.
That's a ridiculous amount of money.
If you'd asked people back then to buy anything that's not like a supercomputer for £1,000, they'd be like, no.
That's very true. I guess us have also, we all are richer, in a sense. We all have more money.
Yeah. We're the richest, as a planet, we're the richest people that have ever lived on the planet. I think that's that's self-explanatory.
Yeah, of course. As our civilization expands, we find better ways to live better lives and make more money.
Yeah, it's.
The phone is a fantastic invention, I must say.
Yeah.
But I used to something very interesting I heard is that really and truly now, and probably in 10 years' time, it's going to be at even a higher degree, that a phone is actually just an extension of yourself.
It is.
And
that's what Elon Musk was saying on the Joe Rogan podcast. They're like, oh, so what? Joe was like, so when are we going to become cyborgs? And Elon was like, we already are becoming cyborgs.
That's what I heard.
We use our phones like an extension of us.
Yeah.
Try not to use your phone. It's the same as not using your left hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my phone would be more useful than my left hand.
Yeah. It's very true.
I'm right-handed. I don't use my left often. My phone is a more essential tool, basically.
Think about it. I can leave my house with just my phone
and be okay.
And I can, to be honest, get anywhere in this world. I can buy a ticket anywhere. My card is pre-built into the I think what's that scanner that when you scan on the bus.
I don't know if it's NFC.
I think it's NFC scanners.
No, NFC was for the other ones. Does Apple also use NFC? I can't remember.
I think so.
It might have been. NFC is near field communication, by the way.
NFC scanner.
iPhone.
For iPhone.
No, just see if the iPhone uses NFC.
NFC for the iPhone.
Just write, how does Apple Pay work?
Apple Pay technology. Okay. Yeah, and I think NFC.
It is NFC, isn't it? Yep.
So we've got a way to pay. We've got a way to buy. We've got a way to locate all our memories are stored there.
Yeah.
All our personal information.
If you pay for the cloud, it's basically an extension. You keep getting your memories with cumulative memories, basically like a permanent and ongoing album.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. I think we've done a lot of time now. We have done 3 hours and 14 minutes.
It's time to eat.
I think that's really good, huh? All
Impressive.
right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.